Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back again. Round 7 of League of Legends we are now into, and I'm joined here today by none other than Django. How are you going?
I'm doing great. Let's go. So ready for these games. We've hit our midpoint. This is it. We're about to start
Yeah.
our second round of the league, you could say.
Yep.
Everyone's played 8 games. The leaderboard is finally even for games played, and we're getting right into it with our first game today. Casuarina Gentlemen versus Job Seekers Alliance.
Yeah, and this matchup, I think earlier on, like into the competition, you might not have seen this as being that exciting, but the way things have played out towards this midpoint, these teams are actually right next to each other in the standings. One's at 4 wins and the other's at 3 wins, so I'm expecting a close matchup, but I believe the last time we saw them play, it wasn't close at all.
Yeah, and that's it really. When you put these two teams back to back, it's pretty funny in comparison because I can't be the only one that had pretty high hopes for Job Seekers Alliance and seeing them a bit further up the leaderboard than where they are, and kind of expected Casuarina Gentlemen to be where they are, but Job Seekers have kind of come down and Casuarina Gentlemen are kind of going up. I think Casuarina Gentlemen have just been improving like week in, week out. We saw them take a game off Destiny last week, who is a tied third place team right now, so anything can happen. This is bound to be a wild game.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Already we've seen some crazy bans. I'm getting a client error telling me it's trying to reconnect, but I can still see it going on in the background. You'll have to forgive
Also
that.
got that one.
But yeah, it's fixed itself. But yeah, those two bans we've seen on the side of Casuarina General, I don't think we need to talk about it anymore. We've probably sound like broken records. Chris tried to target bans, and the Caitlyn target ban off of Shortmaster or Sailboy. I believe Sailboy tends to pick that a bit more. So taking that Caitlyn away, even though I don't feel she's particularly strong in the meta, she did receive a buff recently, so they might be playing wary about that. But
I think it has been pretty good for her. Caitlyn, it's just early lane bully. She's got huge range, but her Q kind of allowed her to keep her damage up a little bit more towards the late game, and I think she's been, her win rate has increased because of that.
yeah, Volibear first pick I do like a lot. It's still a pretty flexible pick. Can go top or jungle. We've seen big success in both roles this competition, but Job Seekers in particular have found success with those two picks we see now are just locked away. So what do you think about CG giving that away? Do you think they have a plan for it?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. I mean, whenever you lock in Blitzcrank and don't ban Morgana, Jackson and I talk about this all the time. Maybe I don't know, people don't think it's as big a deal as it is, but like it's already happened. You've locked in the Blitzcrank and left the Morgana up, and Conditioner is just like insta lock that pick. Blitzcrank just has no pressure in that lane now. As long as Frog Spotter can press E on Iron Sigma this game, they're gonna have like no trouble with that Blitzcrank.
Yes, and if there's one 80k that deals with Cho'Gath quite efficiently, it is none other than Vayne with the Silver Bolt. So, right as I say it, do they have a plan? They respond pretty well there with the Morgana Vayne rounds 2 and 3 there, but Zonox feels that this is an opportunity to bust out the Fiddlesticks, a character we've not seen played too much, despite Jupai's in particular having great success. It's quite a strong jungler in the meta right now. If you put some time into that champion, you can really abuse the spots that champion can go over walls, and these short range champions like Vayne really suffer versus that champ. So really
Yeah,
like
definitely. He's always been strong in 5v5 comps. He just has like huge 5v5 potential of being able to hit a 5-man fear into a huge AP AoE ultimate is always disgusting in any sort of like ranked team tournament. So we've seen it pop off, like you've said. Alpha Arcadia is probably one of the better Fiddlesticks have ever seen. Have been dominated by that time and time again.
Yeah.
And Zonox is stepping up to the plate. He's throwing his hat in the ring.
Yep, it's his time to shine here as we see some more mid lane bans, but I'm a bit concerned for the side of Job Seekers because right now we've known Chris Strider has particularly struggled with his champion pool, and right now they're all AP on the side of Job Seekers. So it's really not looking great if he goes for another one. If it is patented AP picks, he likes to pick AP Malphite, he likes to pick Fizz, stuff like that is something I'd expect here, but right now they can't really afford it. They do need physical damage, and they're going to lock that in the way of Misfortune. But I'm not sure if Misfortune on her own is enough.
I have to imagine it's probably going into the bot lane, right? Chris still needs to pick up some kind of physical damage presence in the mid lane here. And you're right, we just haven't seen him play anything like that. He really prefers like the AP mages. Renekton is maybe the only one we've seen, and it's banned out. They've curiously left the Fizz up. I think a few teams have kind of recognized maybe the Casuarina Fizz ain't so hot. Maybe we'll see if he's gonna show them otherwise this game.
Yeah, well, he is going to get the counter pick here. I believe last pick for the side of Casuarina Gentlemen will be picked, and right now they are hovering Ziggs, and I believe it's an okay matchup for Fizz. He has a little bit of an early game advantage, but once you hit level 3 on that Fizz, you can really run over any matchup here. So it's on Chris Strider. The onus is on him. Does he want to pick Fizz into this matchup? He did dabble with the Silas here, but I don't think this is as great of a Silas game as the last one was for him. And yeah, just as predicted.
There's the Fizz. Yeah, look, and you acknowledged it early in the champ select. It's just not enough physical damage on the side of Jobseeker's Alliance. It's not looking too hot against a team that has been like performing so well in recent weeks in Casuarina Gentlemen. Like we said, taking off a game of a team like Destiny is huge, and Destiny beat Job Seekers, so does that mean Casuarina Gentlemen beat Job Seekers too?
Yeah, they're definitely holding the belt right now for whoever's on top on that little spectrum there. But yeah, I don't know, just going off of the draft there, it's putting so much pressure on Misfortune. Misfortune definitely has an opportunity in the laning phase to bully a character like Vayne, who isn't as powerful early game, but you got to admit that Blitzcrank is going to have to mind game that Morgana. They definitely have their work cut out for them in that bot lane, and certainly if this composition falls behind, we see stuff like the Banshees come through on the Ziggs. I'm sure Spirit Visage is going to be itemized early by that Volibear. So much MR is easy to stack for the side, and it's not going to be easy for that Fizz or that Fiddlesticks to find the picks they're looking for.
Yeah, Volibear with that Spirit Visage, it's going to do so well into Cho'Gath. He's going to be healing up even more in the long trades that he gets to take against Cho'Gath, more than he already does. With the Spirit Visage, it's just like, it's going to be so fat. I am looking at Bin Laden to step up for this game. The Volibears have been pretty crazy in the last few weeks anyway. I think maybe we saw one bad Volibear last week. But other than that, from the tournament, they've been like mostly good and pretty successful, I feel like. The champion is just always disgusting. So much dive potential. He really excels in the longer fights. It's going to be an interesting one.
And he's just really good frontline, always performing in that role. And I feel like a lot of teams, they leave gaps in their drafts and stuff like that. They don't really have powerful engager frontline, but Volibear tends to be just what the doctor ordered there for that little fix up. But this time he's got Jarvan to back him up. He doesn't have to solo engage on that pick, and they set up the rest of their composition with that Vayne and Ziggs quite well.
Yeah, I really do like Jarvan with Ziggs and Vayne. I think it works really well. Obviously, if Jarvan jumps on anyone, Vayne can hit a free condemn into the Cataclysm, and Ziggs can just drop a ulti on top of that too. They've got nowhere to run. You're either blowing flashes or you're getting kills with that comp, and it's well drafted.
Yeah, Job Seekers do have a lot of dive on the side though. Champions like Ziggs and Vayne, if caught out, can easily be blown up. We'll see if they can make the plays to win this game, but right now we got to go over to our sponsors and give them their due shout-outs. Our major sponsors of the season, Paul's Iced Coffee, celebrating his 60th anniversary, giving us out so much free iced coffee. Hopefully one of you guys in the viewers will be able to pick one up for yourselves, or maybe you'll pick something up even better. We don't know. The spin wheel will decide for us, but
they're doing a huge giveaway at the moment too. Just go buy a nice coffee, and you have like I think it's like a 1 in 60 chance of winning like $500 or something. Don't quote me on that, but it's free money. Just go and buy some iced coffee. It's a win-win. Yeah. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying it anyway. That's just an added bonus. And speaking of bonuses, Northern Territory government spared no bonus for us. I mean, they gave us the bonus. They spared no funds when they came to sponsoring us here. They gave us so much to help support this competition, and so did McDonald's, Darwin, both major sponsors giving us so much. Thank you so much to them. We're going to hop over to the minor sponsors now, and we're going to start giving them their shoutouts. Next tier, Entertainment, Serotonic Beauty, VR Gamers, Gaming Creations, Tracy's Village, Social and Sports Club, Howard Springs Tavern, The Rabbit Hole, Palace of India, Fresh Point Cafe, John John's, Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gin, and Bell Accounting. Now there's one more quick shout out I want to do because we want to get some hype built up for this event, and it's very hand in hand with that Tracy Village shout out. It is the press start event. Let me see if I can enlarge that on your screens. The GG Social Club have teamed up with us.
Gonna be awesome. It's just gonna be a good night. Karaoke, you're gonna play some video games. Gonna be, you know, a few esport tournaments, as well as some little Wild Rift tournaments happening on the night. And we're all just gonna go have a few drinks and go meet some of the players from the season, some of the fans, maybe even some of the sponsors, and have a great night.
Well, that's
happening
going to get over
Saturday, 7th of August, 6 p.m. Tracy Village Sports Club.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. I just don't want to miss a single thing in this game. It has started here. Let's do a quick sync up because I'm expecting some early game shenanigans to go. So I'm at 25 seconds, 26, 27.
I'm still in the loading screen.
Alright, so you're going to miss all the action there is to be had, but sadly, nothing happening yet. Just a bit of pings going over. They sniff it out. Job seekers have suspected Casuarina gentlemen have something in their playbook here. They're just stacking the bush in the river. No one's really interacting just yet, but Casuarina goes for a wild hook that misses by a pixel, but he was alone. Even if that hook lands, I think it's only negative for the side of job seekers, so maybe Stairboy is lucky he missed one for once, because he's been landing quite a few hooks in this competition.
It's just a threat hook, you know. It's just to keep them scared, see if you can, you know, keep them on their toes. Just what Frog Spotter needs to be doing this game. I'm in now. I'll just make sure. I'm at 13, 14, 15, 16,
17.
17.
We are synced up pretty well here. I think we
Looking
are
good.
all good to go for this game here. And what a game it will be. Right now we're seeing a pretty strange selection of a keystone out of the mid lane of that phase rush for the Ziggs. I would just still double down, put more damage into your kit. You have a lot of early game poke, and if you poke the Fizz enough in this early game, he doesn't really have too much pressure in that early game once he does reach his level 3 if he's suffered too much poke, but he ends up going the phase rush. I suppose if you're able to land the spells on him, you can get that movement speed away in the early game, but I feel like the pattern he wants to just follow once he hits that level 6 is to just land that ult straight up, and Ziggs rather, if he gets that phase rush, even with the Fizz ult on him, I don't think he's going much of anywhere. So,
yeah, that's right. I don't think you're using the W offensively in that matchup anyway, right? You're probably always using it to try and disengage yourself.
Yeah, it's just Fizz is extremely mobile. Even if you land that knockway, there's a good chance he's going to get onto you anyway. So we'll see how well he positions. Obviously, this is all theory. Ultimately, he could be standing on the other side of the lane. Ziggs, if he bounces his Q all the way across, I'm sure Fizz will never get on him. But yeah, we'll have to see how that mid lane interacts. Oh my god, we've just seen a flash as Stairboy, but the camera just directed me top lane.
Oh,
I can only assume that went wide there, so good.
Yeah, he's really threatening the hook. He's doing everything he can to try and get them off guard. I don't believe he has Hex Flash, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Bin Laden setting up a good trade there for his jungler, and they've surely spotted him on the side of Job Seekers there. Nublis has to know what's up, but he's quite healthy right now, still has flash. I think he'll be able to defend the dive, but if they get level advantage and a big wave stacked up, it might be a different story. Now Zonox isn't on that side of the map, so he cannot help at all, so I think he should be looking to set up a play on the other side if he can try to do anything, but it's only if Conditioner decides to do it. He's hovering around.
Interestingly, Bin Laden has started the Doran's Ring into this matchup. Maybe they feel like they didn't have enough AP and we might see an AP volley bear this game.
I think it's just one of the better starting items for him. Normally they like to go just Doran's Shield into those poke heavy matchups, but into matchups where you can really force the trades out, you really just want to be dropping as many cooldowns as you can, and the mana regen from Doran's Ring helps out immensely, and not to mention the bonus damage on his E is just crazy early game. I'm sure we saw some early trades on just seeing how much damage that E can deal if it lands onto the Cho'Gath, and yeah, it's a niche pickup. It really depends on the matchups. I'm not a volley expert by any means, so I can't tell you which situation is right, but
I think if you take it to try and get some more mana back and some more aggressive trading in the early game, it's maybe not the best against the Cho'Gath, considering he's just perma healing with his E. Whenever he's farming, he's getting health back. And we're actually seeing him come up on the trade here. Bin Laden having to flash the knock up from Cho'Gath. Well played by Nooblis. That'll be a big summoner spell to have go down as Zonox is pathing towards top.
Just because we've seen so much Volibear, I'll give you guys a little bit of a tip. His cooldowns are ridiculously long early game. Once he hits that level 9, he starts to become really skilled at those longer fights. But early game, he's really dependent on that E and that Q for his trading, which have really long cooldowns. So just as Nooblis did there, he dragged out the trade, or rather, Bin Laden stayed around too long, and he got punished heavily by Cho'Gath for doing that. So just a little bit of tip there. Obviously, most Volibear players will know this and they're not going to step up for the trade, but Bin Laden makes a small error there and he's going to cost his flash.
And we have seen Bin Laden been one of the more aggressive, top laners through the split too, so not surprising to see him go for a play like that.
Yeah, no, he definitely is one of the players that will suss out their enemies, see if they're going to take the...
They've always been threatening. He got the condemn in the bottom.
Yeah, beautiful
Conditioner
flash.
is here. Yeah, flash the knock up. I think Stairboy's going down. The Q does miss, but there's just one more auto. And the heal's coming out. And a flash from Iron Sigma is going to secure first blood against Blitzcrank. Huge golds getting the Vayne early.
Yeah, and that is the repercussion of burning that flash early on the Blitzcrank, trying to go for that aggressive play early. It backfired, and instead he is caught on the receiving end of that jungle gank with no summoner spell to get himself out of that. Chris Strider is hovering around. I'm not seeing anything happening with that. The level 6 of that Fizz, but Nooblis actually might have an opportunity. He's hit level 6 himself. He's thinking about it, but doesn't quite have the cooldowns. Shortmaster is playing around, trying to bait for Chris Strider, but he doesn't have that level 6, so I'm not seeing anything happen. Nooblis goes for the flash. He has no mana. He has no mana.
He's got no mana. Oh, just a misplay from Nooblis. I think it's the right play if you have maybe 200 more mana there. You probably chunk Bin Laden down just enough into that ulti range, but flashing in with no mana might be a bit of the nerves catching up to him, unfortunately.
Yeah, huge error there. That's usually where you'd look to take the Doran's Ring yourself in the Cho'Gath, because I know that is quite the common pick, but Cho'Gath can easily regenerate his health with that passive, but he doesn't get quite as much mana, so a lot of people tend to go Doran's Ring just to really build up that sustain. You sustain so much health, you sustain so much mana, and you're able to just stay in lane infinitely, it seems. But he's gone that Duran Shield, got a bit more of that health regen, and yeah, unfortunately that's not what he suffered from there. He suffered from the mana department, and he's going to go down.
Absolutely true. I mean, if I'm going into Volibear, I'm usually taking the Doran Shield, right? Because if you're farming in the wave, he's hitting his passive on you constantly, so you're constantly healing. I think maybe the Corruption pot might have been a better first back if he was having mana issues, but I guess he couldn't have known in that situation.
Yeah, we've got a play happening in the mid lane. Chris Strider has landed the fish, but the exhaust comes through clutch there. Stairboy is there. He goes for the flash hook, but unfortunately, Delphos wins, has a flash of his own to counter that. Big binding in the bot lane, but unfortunately, no follow-up from the Vayne. She's backing
Conditioner's
off
looking. I think Conditioner's going for it.
Yeah, right on the wall.
Full vision.
And they get the Ziggs Hextech bomb over the top of the map there to assist out. He's surely going down in this 3-man play, and that Bin Laden is going to get even further ahead in that lane. Nooblis getting bullied a bit by the rotations of Casuarina, gentlemen.
Yeah, it was really nicely rotated. You could see the patience on Conditioner there. He was just sitting on top of that blast cone for as long as he could. He had full vision in the brush. Poor Nooblis, probably feeling pretty tilted after that one.
Yeah, it was quite the rotation there. He kept very patient so that his Ziggs could walk up for that bomb, get that extra assistance onto the side just to make sure they guaranteed get that kill. But yeah, we see the weakness of that Fizz right now. He doesn't have that damage early game in order to secure out these kills, and it's only going to get worse, I imagine, as the magic resist starts to build up here. I wouldn't be surprised to see many Merc Treads early game, even on the Ziggs, that character you normally see built damage. It's a really good item into this sort of composition. Plenty of CC you'll be reducing, so if he's struggling to get kills right now into that exhaust, it's going to become even worse in the future. A hook there lands from Stairboy, but they're just trying to turn it around. They land a CC.
Excellent binding into Condemn combo.
Iron Sigma.
Oh, that's a bit of an in Iron Sigma. I don't know about that one.
Not his finest moment. Conditioner trades a kill back onto Stairboy, but he's now going to find his way out. Chris Strider coming through on the sides, lands to the Chum the Waters. He is going down. Goodbye. Chris Strider picks up the double buffs from Conditioner, but you got to say all of that was on the back of a huge misplay from Iron Sigma. There's no sugarcoating that.
Yeah, that's rough. Frog Spotter had the right idea. To be honest, they hit a sweet combo. They hit a perfect binding into Condemn, knocking Stairboy into the wall. But you just can't take the Misfortune ulti. It's just not allowed.
Yeah,
It paid for their lives.
The skill doesn't seem like it hurts that much, but it channels for such a long time. If you're standing in the full duration, it's easily doing half your health bar, possibly even more, and it's certainly going to get worse as the game goes on there. So Iron Sigma definitely has to be wary. He was playing the champ to do it. He has the tumbles, but unfortunately, I believe he tumbled out and just walked straight back in. Frog Spotter getting hooked in. They're looking for a play onto this bot lane again while the summoners are down, but unfortunately not going to find much. The Black Shield doing a great job of disengaging there for the side of Casuarina Gentlemen. Now, if we look at this,
that's the goal we kind of like to see come back on the side of the Job Seekers Alliance. Seeing Chris try to come down and pick up a bit of gold is really going to help get that Fizz snowballing and try and help Shortmaster and Stairboy, you know, get something back in this lane.
Yeah, the gold lead is pretty neck and neck. We expected this to be a close match, but it's quite literally neck and neck. I think the biggest difference is maybe down into that bot lane there. Misfortune just has completed her mythic here, and she's gone for the Gale Force. Now that's an interesting option. Most Misfortunes do opt for much more damage within the way of that Kraken Slayer. You have a pretty good way to proc it with the auto Q combo, as well as that passive. It does proc that. But Gale Force does give you a little bit more mobility, allows you to dodge away from this binding, away from the Jarvan combos, but I feel like since Gale Force isn't able to get you over walls or anything, it's not going to save you from that Jarvan ultimate in a lot of those team fights. So we'll see if it ends up paying off. Personally, I would still go Kraken Slayer, and it's not going to save you from this situation here as he finds himself bound. Never mind, he ends up turning it.
Another huge ulti for Shortmaster.
Yeah,
and he's getting the Gale Force off to kill Frog Spotter as well. Very nice, as it was being critiqued. Yeah, a bit of a caster curse there. It's working well for him so far, I think.
Yeah, but we gotta admit that I think they were just both straight up dead. If he just had the Kraken Slayer, would have procced them, both of them with the bullet time. But either way, I just don't see Iron Sigma playing well around this Misfortune pick. We don't see many Misfortunes in Northern Territory Esports League at all, and it's really showing here for Iron Sigma. He just keeps tumbling into this Misfortune. Has zero way to get out of that, and he could have possibly even condemned he wouldn't have gotten the kill, but he at least would not have died to that Misfortune there, but he ends up just trying to run out of it. It's too little too late, ends up going down again. They're not respecting this Misfortune anywhere near as much as they should.
It looks like Ziggs is kind of coming towards the top lane here with Jarvan. They're going to start the Herald. Maybe they had vision of Zonox backing there, but he's actually stayed.
Yeah, Zonox is going for the play here. He doesn't find much damage with the Crow Storm, and they're going to back off. They sort of have an idea of Job Seekers rotating. And yeah,
not
they look
quite an
to
Alpha Arcasia ulti there, unfortunately. Not quite making it on there.
Yeah, at that point, normally you just want to run up, but Bin Laden finds himself beautiful combo, hook back into the knockup for Nubus, and he's going to be looking for this feast here. Finds it, and they're going to look for Gale Force wins in the mid lane. Rather, Gale Force, not Gale Force. I'm too hung up on this Misfortune item, but not going to find too much there, and the trade in the bot lane will be quite heavy. Some plates going down, so they do rotate up really heavily to try and get this Herald control, and I believe they have it, but they didn't end up picking it up. They decide it's better to reset here. No Herald is going to get picked up, so they just traded a bit of unnecessary gold over towards the side of Casuarina Gentlemen, but still they picked up a kill in the top lane, picked up some plates on that Cho'Gath. Still a positive trade, but I still would have liked to see them pick up the Herald while it was free there.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Herald does drop off in a lot of value after the turret plating is gone. Obviously, while first tower is still up, it's still really good. But, you know, when it's kind of getting to those later stages, you might as well just try and, I don't know, I'm greedy like that. I like to just try and get my tower plates as soon as I can and just play on from there. I mean, the Herald's not going anywhere, right? If they still have that control, they should still be able to snag it up and get some first tower gold.
Yeah, even without the tower plates, you can at least guarantee that into the first tower. You have a Ziggs mid lane. Currently, that tower in mid lane sitting around half health.
That's true.
So Ziggs can immediately execute it after the charge there. So could have easily converted it into a first tower, but unfortunately they don't go for that. They're looking to pick it up now off of a lot of resets. There are so many champions bot side for the side of Casuarina Gentlemen. They look probably just to give this Herald and look for a dragon setup here, possibly even a play on the bot lane if they're not wise.
Yeah, next dragon to come out is Windrake, and we've already had a Mountain Drake, which means we're either getting we're either getting Infernal or Ocean Drake, which are probably the two spiciest drakes. Definitely worth it fighting over. And Frogspot is going down. He's tried to clear that ward in the tri-brush and has paid dearly. Shortmaster just unleashing the ultimate. He's been doing so well with that one this game.
Yes.
I think the entire team of Casuarina Gentlemen have really been underrating that damage on that one.
Yeah, just clearly not enough experience. 6 out of 7 KP for this Misfortune, and a lot of it has been off the back of that bullet time ability. You wouldn't see too crazy. I think it's too crazy without too much setup there, and a lot of the time you do need that that fizz going in, that Cho'Gath and that Fiddlesticks creating a lot of chaos, and then you're able to land those big ultimates when the enemy team least expect it. But she's just casting in their face and finding really strong bullet times here. So they're not playing very well around the pick, I'll have to admit that right now, but we'll see what they can do in the future.
A nice hook from Starboy, but no one to follow up. Chris Strider's gone for the zigs. I think he's going to get him, dropping the ignite. Another auto is going to do the trick. Conditioner flashing forward with the EQ combo,
he's
but not in range.
Yeah, not in range for that ultimate. Drops it on Starboy here, but Starboy has flash, and he goes for the hook here. Is the feast going to come through? Doesn't quite kill, miscalculates it. And now the turnaround with the Gore Drinker Vayne trying to burn down this Cho'Gath, but even a Vayne struggles to take down the Cho'Gath without her proper items, and Shortmaster has shown up to save the day.
They nearly had a really good turn there. It was really close to getting the Cho'Gath, really close to getting the fizz, but once again Sigma just kind of lost in the pressure of the moment. He's looking pretty low and just trying to get whatever he can. Just gonna die when that fizz bounces on his head.
Now I'll go back to Champions League. When they played versus Destiny, I believe Iron Sigma was piloting Kate, and he did really well on that pick here, but actually the side of Casuarina Gentlemen banded away here, and they put him on the Vayne, and let's be honest, it's not performing anywhere near as well as that Caitlyn here. So I'm wondering whether that was a huge mistake there, because a lot of the time, if you're contesting it in the draft, you may as well just pick it away. I know you're into a champion like Cho'Gath, which Caitlyn doesn't really succeed in, but at the end of the day, comfort means the most, and what you're proficient on, you're going to do the best on a lot of the time. And we see it here time after time with Starboy landing these Blitzcrank hooks, just setting up so well for his team. Starboy definitely has made a name for himself onto this Blitzcrank here, and teams are still giving it to him, not respecting it anywhere near as much as they should.
Again, Shortmaster's hitting that ult after ult. On the Wretches going, I know in the Champ Select we also talked about the lack of AD damage, but I think this ultimate might just be enough at this rate. He's scaling really well. She's 8-0 at the moment. She's got huge shutdown gold, and she's just obliterating every time that ultimate's up. She's getting a free kill for it, almost on cooldown. She's playing really well with the Blitzcrank in the bottom.
Yeah, this is the ultimate nightmare when you're into this sort of composition. If there is one AD and that AD gets fed, then you don't really know who to itemize for. And you see that now with the builds coming out. Volibear going Mertreads, Jarvan going Tab Eyes, but still, you can't really disrespect every other AP champion. I still think your objective is to just try and kill this Misfortune as much as you can. If you're able to take her down, then the rest is AP. If your target selection is really good, you get that Jarvan on the MF, you get the Ziggs bomb coming through, you might be able to nuke her down, and then that's where your magic resist can come to play. But right now, if she gets ignored at all here, she's going to absolutely obliterate the side of Casuarina Gentlemen, and it's looking pretty rough. They have a pretty hefty lead and the dragon lead here, so it could easily convert into a soul, and with that being Ocean Soul, it's going to be so hard to deal with. Oh my god, another!
Force has been caught!
That was a blind hook, and Shawmaster's going in all the way, Gale Force straight into him. Starboy's not actually going down, he's sitting on a support Morgana W. It doesn't do enough damage, but they end up finding the shutdown onto Shortmaster. 1,000 gold going to Conditioner, that is a huge shutdown. But is it enough for the side of Casuarina Gentlemen to make a comeback? Starboy is able to crawl out there.
Very unfortunate. I think it was a sick blind hook. Maybe they must have seen it. Oh, and another one. They've actually caught Conditioner back. Nooblis getting another stack in that one. I did just want to bring up that, you know, the scaling on the side of Scanlan is definitely on the side of job seekers here. With the Fizz, the MF, and the Cho'Gath, they're all, going to do very well as they come into the later stage of this game. Currently, Cho'Gath is only eaten 3 minions. He's got 2 champion eats and 1 epic monster eat, which means that at this rate he has at least 3 more stacks. He's going to get to the level 9 definitely this game, which is when Cho'Gath starts to become really tricky to deal with, when he just becomes a huge monster. So this Vayne really needs to start picking up if anyone's going to be able to deal with him.
Yeah, right now that shutdown didn't really amount to much on decided condition. He just builds that into the Aegis of the Legion there. It's not exactly the most powerful item. I don't think the shutdown is really going to be too relevant for the side of Casuarina Gentleman. If it was on the side of that Vayne or that Ziggs, it's a different story. But right now, just having that extra armor and magic resist on your Jarvan isn't really too game breaking for you. So still, Job Seeker's in the driving seat here, looking to get this dragon in control. And I say the biggest factor of this game is just look at the vision score between the jungle and the support of Job Seekers here. It's so much better than their opponents, and that's what allows Stairboy to find these hooks time and time again. Is the vision gap is quite huge here. If you look at that topside jungle, for example, just look at
disgusting.
It's just
so
been
many
absolutely littered, and they have to guess themselves now that Stairboy has hooked them over and over just exactly what they can check, because even if you ward the bush in front of you, that you can't ward the bush beyond, and that's where Stairboy might be lurking. So they got to play it very intelligently, especially when it comes to these dragon contests, because Stairboy has been catching them with their pants down.
We're seeing that much vision over on the top side too. We have to imagine once this dragon goes down, we're probably going to see a pretty early Baron. With that much vision, they should have the information to know they can do this and turn on anyone that comes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going for the contest. I think it is a wise decision with how strong that MF is. You definitely want your Vayne to spike onto that Guinsoo's, maybe get that item, and you might start to take down this Cho'Gath in a crazy time. But another hook there from
been caught again.
And he lands the Chum the Waters. Is it going to kill through the Black Shield? It doesn't quite ignite. Not quite going to finish it either. So he does scurry away with his life there. But still, that's still a lot of time brought there. And that's the main wave clear taken away. They might just look to convert this into a siege. They still have the MF ult available.
Yeah, Blitzcrank and Fizz did blow theirs there. So if Casuarina Gentleman can find the right fight, they might be able to turn this.
Yeah, they're operating as a unit, but they have to be careful about that Fiddlesticks. He's looking for an angle. There's so much vision here. This is going to be a nightmare situation for the side of Casuarina
if you just
Gentleman. Look
at both sides of the jungle again. Casuarina Gentleman have put all their... the fight is happening.
Yeah.
Bin Laden is ulting in. That's the Fiddlesticks and the ML fault down. If there's ever a time to take this fight, it is now.
Yeah.
The rest of the team is looking pretty low. Bin Laden is low. He does have his teleport.
They dropped those 2 massive ultimates, but the disengage was good from Casuarina Gentleman. They fool them into thinking they're engaging, and MF and Fiddlesticks almost instantly burn their ults, but they're looking for a play now topside. There's no one going to rotate in order to save this Cho'Gath, but he's just hiding in the bush. He's absolutely outplayed them. They've killed Bin Laden, and now Iron Sigma walking onto that Rupture there. He's not kiting as well as you'd like the Vayne to do, and the Cho'Gath just turns around. The 1v2 is the cavalry is here, gonna take down the Ziggs in rotation as well, and Job Seekers are starting to run away with this game. It looks like they're gonna convert this easily into a Baron, and if anyone can save the day, it's Conditioner with a miracle steal, but I don't think he's gonna get anywhere close.
Yeah, just another really unfortunate play from Iron Sigma. He popped the Vayne ulti and Nublis just stood in the bush and no one was going near the bush toward it. No one wanted to die. And then by the time Nublis came out of the bush, his conditioner was dead and Iron Sigma had no ulti left. It's just a free double kill from Nublis. Really well played by him. Just pushing his lead to the maximum there.
Yeah, he literally just sat in the bush and they were just stuck there like it was a Mexican standoff. No one wanted to approach him, and his Q cooldown came up just in time to take down Bin Laden there. And you gotta say that Nublis has been handling this matchup quite well after that early game into one of the better top laners in the league here. Bin Laden often finds himself grabbing the MVPs on the side of Casuarina Gentleman, but this game he's being handled pretty well. Nublis is pushing up all the time, just absolutely pushing back this Volley Bear, which we've seen a lot of success out of in this season of Northern Territory Esports League.
I really like the way Nublis is built here too. I didn't see which one he got first, but the early Warmogs on Cho'Gath is so disgusting. Obviously it procs way earlier now. You only need 1100 bonus health, which I believe Nublis can. He can first build that item and still receive the bonus. It's just how disgusting that item is in that champ. Stairboy's looking for Frog Spotter here. The hook's going wide. She's gonna flash over the tower and just flash over the wall. Sorry, straight back to her tower.
Yeah, a little
Not
bit of
much
trivia for you folks that Morgana is still considered a Blitzcrank counter, but Blitzcrank can counter that Black Shield. His ultimate does one-shot shields, and you might have to hold that thought. As Conditioner goes in here, they find Zonox. He's trapped into the Cataclysm there. He's not going to be able to ult anywhere and gets taken down instantly, but the turnaround from Shortmaster dropping so much damage. Bin Laden goes in, finds Chris Strider. They're trying to burst him down, but the Zonias is there in time. Shortmaster trying to kite for his life there. No Gale Force to get out of harm's way. They're on the chase here. Justin bombs everywhere. Chris Strider just gets caught before his E cooldown is up, and unfortunately goes down, but Shortmaster finds his way out of that situation, and Nublis is happy sieging in the bot lane this whole time. So small victory there, but still they've cut their losses on the side of that bot there. Shortmaster is just face checking bushes by himself.
So strong, and Nublis is huge. He's not even been there for those fights. The other fights you want to see Casuarina Gentleman to take here, but once again, Nublis and Shortmaster are the real problems on their team. They're the ones that haven't died for this game. They're going to be up just in time for this Drake too. It looks like Casuarina Gentleman are taking it back now. Probably going to try and get in there just in time, but I think they're going to miss out on some really important prio when Job Seekers Alliance are looking at Soul Point for Ocean here. Can you just imagine how disgusting this Ocean Point is going to be on this Cho'Gath? Oh,
it is
filthy scenes.
And there's not a shred of healing reduction built on the side of Casuarina Gentleman yet. If they get this Ocean Drag, I think that'll be completely curtains there. There's so much healing in the way of that MF2 with the Bloodthirster, so any more and she'll be
just missing on the skin of the teeth too.
Yes, the
so
boys
unfortunate.
had a couple of those super close misses right from level 1, and we might see a fight just break out here. They're just face checking, they're forcing the issue here. They're running through. Chris Strider's leading the charge there, ducks out with his E, but they're looking for the angle. Zonox finds it there with the Crow Storm onto Bin Laden, but unfortunately the Volley Bear is far too tanky. Nublis is trying to frontline for his team. Conditioner trying to catch anyone out, but he finds a Cataclysm on 3. Here comes the bullet time onto 4 champions, completely shredding them. Shortmaster just absolutely demolishes them with that bullet time, and the rest of Job Seekers clean house there. And you got to be careful of diving that MF. You're not able to cancel that bullet time. It's just curtains, and we see the teleport coming through onto that bot side now.
Yeah, they're going to take 3 towers, 2 inhibs from that death. That's a really nice fight from Job Seekers Alliance. They played that really well. Nublis is seriously just unkillable right now. Look how much he's healing once that the Warmog's armor kicks in as well. He's going to have the Dragon Soul healing him. Oh, Shortmaster nearly dying there to the tower shot. Calculated for sure.
Calculated, and if he hits one camp, he'll be full health for sure with that Bloodthirster and that Ocean Soul. And now I don't think there's much of the way to get back into the game outside of a miracle pick here. More of a throw from the enemy team. People always say it's a miracle pick, but at this point it's really just Job Seekers' game to lose. And if they just group as 5, I don't see any way that Casuarina Gentleman can really turn it around with just the raw stats that they're rocking on the side of Job Seekers. Look at this Cho'Gath, he's sitting on a ward, literally doesn't mean nothing in the world.
0 damage. 0 damage. And look, we got to give Hen props over, because we do criticize Job Seekers Alliance a lot because we do expect them to be one of the top teams. And this is the top team performance that we want to see from them. Just huge gold leads at the 28 minutes, almost 10k. And Nublis is just unstoppable. The game is essentially over. I don't see Nublis dying again this game. You know, Chris Strider's starting to pick up a lot of gold. He's getting some one-shot potential on Iron Sigma and onto Delphorce wins. and just look at the disgusting Shortmaster. 15-1. She is blowing everything up this game. They've just played so well, and you know, as they should be. These are the expectations that we have from Job Seekers Alliance.
So they're just adding to their list of really strong picks. The Cho'Gath, Nublis has performed time and time again. Starboy has made a name for himself on that Blitzcrank, just almost straight up, almost solo carrying games. But this game, he has definitely got another carry in the way of Shortmaster on that MF here. He's just performed exceptional, and it's going to be a problem if he becomes really proficient on this pick too. Then Job Seekers are starting to stack up those crazy power picks in their pocket here, and teams have to take notice. You can't keep letting this Blitzcrank through. You can't keep letting this Cho'Gath through, because they've performed on it so well time and time again. And yeah, at this point, it might be better to stop target banning Chris Strada, who hasn't really shown himself, hasn't really proven himself on those other picks yet, because he's just had them banned out. But people have been proving themselves, like Starboy, on this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, it's really important. Chris has really built a roster, you know, that isn't dependent on him. Like you said, yeah, Nublis, Shortmaster, Starboy have just been standout performers like every game, and you know, they've been playing really well. And it's glad to see that, you know, they're starting to find some success. I imagine some scrims, maybe some clash games, has really paid off for these guys.
Now, this fight here is looking like it's about to go down. The Baron is up, but they're just looking to just straight up A-ram it. I don't think that's the right player. Surely the wave clear will come through for the side of Casuarina Gentlemen, so they are going to go over to that Baron. But still, if we look at the side of Casuarina Gentlemen, there is 0 healing reduction, and that's just going to absolutely inhibit anything they're able to do here. Look at this Fiddlesticks tanking up the Baron, just staying full health the whole time.
Nublis is on 6k HP right now. It's 30 minutes into the game, and he has 6k HP. Yeah. He has like plenty of stats. He's got the MI, he's got the armor, he's got healing regen, and another hook from Starboy is just gonna catch Conditioner out. Chris Strider picking that one up.
Oh, huge turnaround!
Actually one-shotting Zonox with a huge ulti, but it's not going to be enough to save the game. Nublis just doesn't die here.
Oh,
a huge flash knock-up onto Iron Sigma, and he's got to die for it too. Starboy, again, has been having an absolute performance on this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, we saw Iron Sigma try to make their hero play. Unfortunately, the knock-up comes through. Chris Strada comes through and absolutely deletes him. The lead is too large there. If it was an even game, we might have seen some crazy Vayne plays, but it's too little too late. You had your opportunity earlier on in the game. Now they're just going to slap you with their wallet. Yeah, and Shortmaster is just frontlining on his own into the base of Casuarina Gentlemen. And I gotta say, Bin Laden did a really good play there. Not only did he escape from the side of Job Seekers, he also found a kill onto the way of Zonox, looking for that Crowstone over the wall. But that is just a small victory here. Right now, you are losing your inhibitors, which is a big victory for the side of Job Seekers. And the game is only going to go on so long. They are resetting
they're just playing
here.
It real safe. Yeah, just got to keep taking these inhibs. Maybe even look for a third. Everyone knows 3 inhibs with Baron is usually game over. You don't even have to fight at that point. Just got to allow the minions to do their work. I have to reiterate again, this is just exactly what we like to see from Job Seekers Alliance. This is like a top 3 team performance that we're seeing from them right now. After we've just seen Casuarina Gentlemen defeat, you know, the guard of NTEL Esports, you know, defending their title year after year, except for last, obviously. Can't take it away from Destiny. They've been so strong forever, they still are. And we've just seen Casuarina beat them last week, and Job Seekers come back and beat CG this week. It's a return to form for these guys. They've just played so well.
Yeah, it's an incredibly important game. Getting into that second round robin now is do or die for a lot of these teams. You have to end up in that top 4 or you lose the playoff opportunity here. So you can drop a few games like Destiny is right now, but if they end up clutching out the second half of the season, there's no issues there. But right now, if you start dropping some games into the second half of the season, it's going to be really hard to secure those playoff positions. So it's do or die right now. The Casuarina Gentlemen are still fighting for it. They're going to look for this Elder, but right now it's just going to be so hard to face check this Fiddlesticks and this Blitzcrank. They're just
They're just
dropping
gonna throw
everything. They have
everything
no
at
vision
Drake.
and they all just commit to it. Now they're caught in a
Yeah.
really bad spot. Zonix is burning. The Crow Storm goes immediately in. Frog Spoiler goes down instantly. No Black Shield is going to save you from that. And in the top
Oh,
lane, Nooblis just having a field
Nicholas
day.
is going for the 3 in him. He's just clearing those waves.
Oh, you can
The
try
Lions
out.
gone back for him, but inside Sigma. Oh, not quite, my friend.
No chance. We see, the Elder Dragon onto the side of Nooblis now. He's gonna
that
do so
Nublist
much.
is.
Yeah, he's absolutely huge. I've got my camera zoomed out so much and he still looks like the biggest thing in
Just
the
an
game.
absolute giant. I'd love to see him just stand next to Ziggs right now. One of the smallest. Oh, okay.
No, you don't have
Short
any
Master's gonna
opportunity.
Gale Force in. Blow up the Hell Force wins.
Yeah.
Oh, Bin Laden got caught out with another hook. Starboy is so cracked this game. And that's gonna be the win for Job Seekers Alliance. They've done it. This is what we want to see. This is it. Let's go, Job Seekers. They're back. Return to form for these guys.
Yep, they end up finishing that game in quite convincing fashion the whole way. They had a little bit of a stalemate there going on early, but then they end up getting with the tried and true Stairboy roams, the vision control, the rotations that we see have worked out for Job Seekers. They've gone back to form and they have just absolutely smashed Casuarina Gentleman, riding high off beating Destiny now. We're just looking at the side of Job Seekers that you can only really think of one person as the MVP for this game. I think he just really showed up, and yeah, you didn't really expect it. Out of nowhere, Shortmaster comes out with this crazy MVP performance onto this Misfortune, and a lot of it was off the back of Stairboy, but at this point, you just got to look at that scoreline and just wonder
Yeah, you just look at the damage. We've done 27k damage, top the charts there. But you're right, but you can't look past Stairboy, Shortmaster and Stairboy. They had, probably one of their greatest performances we've seen from them this season. Stairboy just hitting hook after hook after hook, and Shortmaster just launching that R and just destroying the, Iron Sigma over and over again, just extending that lead. Just really well played from the bot lane. But also, Chris Strider had a bit of a slow early game and picked it up towards the late game. Obviously, Nooblis becoming that undying giant terror on the Rift. Look, the whole side of Job Seekers has played really well today, but you're right. I think you can't look past that damage graph. Shortmaster has definitely claimed MVP for this game.
Yeah, the only thing I'm asking, where was this MF the rest of the split? They find this pick to just absolutely smash out Casuarina Gentleman. Maybe they're not playing any more games now. We're into the second half of the season. But yeah, now people are going to be looking towards Shortmaster on that MF. No longer are they looking at that Caitlyn, because that MF is looking like a much greater threat. So we'll have to see how teams adapt to this Job Seekers Alliance roster that has just able to find these power picks coming into the second half of the season. Now, we got to look over to the side of Casuarina Gentleman for the SVP, and it's not as clear-cut as the other side, I'll say that much, but what are your thoughts first off?
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I mean, the damage graph is pretty telling here, but I actually don't think Bin Laden played terrible. He might have, I mean, if I hadn't looked at this damage graph, I probably would have given it over to Bin Laden. Maybe it's my top lane bias or something, but I think, he had a few losses in the early game, and, even Nooblis kind of gave away that int, or he flashed in with no mana. But even then, he still played well. He still got some really important picks. I saw him cancel the Misfortune ult a couple of times with his Q. He kind of stood out. But once you open the damage graph up, you see that Ziggs has put in so much damage, nearly, overtaking the Misfortune damage there. It seems like he was really, the shadow of this game that was like really keeping them in the lead when they had it.
Yeah, the eye test pretty much failed me. I couldn't really decide just by looking at that game, but looking at the stats here, it's hard to go wrong. It's quite easy to pump up your damage number as Ziggs with that demonic visage build, along with the Lion. There's just so much burn damage. If you land that stray bomb, it can amount to a lot more than it initially looks like. But yeah, you can only imagine that if this Vayne was putting out the same amount of damage, then this game would be very different here. So I'd say he performed his role probably the best there. Obviously, he went down a few times. Can't really blame him versus composition like Fiddlesticks, Fizz and Misfortune, and obviously that Blitzcrank just on crack there with the hooks, just catching him out all the time.
Over and over again, yeah.
So yeah,
Gosh.
I'd say he tried his hardest there. He put out as much damage as he could, but alas, not enough. But still will pick up the SVP for this game here. But yeah, that does us for game 1 here. Game 2, I believe, will be Destiny looking to get vengeance for the couple of losses they've been suffering versus AD Astra. I'm wondering how that match is going to be play out, but unfortunately I don't think you'll be joining me for that one. You'll have to go get prepared for your own matchup, which will be game 3 tonight. So
Yeah, that's it. We got Purple Cobras. We've been having a rough couple of weeks too, so we're going to go and, prepare for Purple Cobras and, try and figure some stuff out. Maybe we'll show you something new tonight.
But yeah, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to go to a short intermission now. Make sure you're interacting in chat still. Those spectator prizes up for grabs. But yeah, we're going to go to a short break, and we'll be back with, I believe, Chris Strider on casting and game 2 with Destiny versus AD Astra. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Peace.
Transitioned us to Tournament TV, but scratch that, we went straight into Champions League, guys. Welcome back. We are into Champions League between AD, Astra, and Destiny here. Sparing not a moment, ban that Syndra straight away. Just fresh off the buff list there. And yeah, just into Champions League now. Sorry, I had to unmute my Discord there, just so Chris can partake on the conversation. How are you going, Chris?
Pretty good. It's good. We started out the second half with a good win and getting my team's confidence up. But well played to CG. They definitely pressured us early.
Yeah, that was well executed from both teams in the early game, but you guys just ran away coming into mid-game there. Some great hooks as always, but most importantly that MF pick, picking up MVP. But let's not dwell. We're into this next match now. AD Astra have been trying to fight their way up the leaderboard, and Destiny have been trying to stay on top, it seems, here.
Ooh.
So we'll see if they're able to do it again. One of the main things I'd say that's inhibiting Destiny is their main roster isn't always on, and their main AD carry and their captain here, Ardmon, are missing this game. But we'll see if Prodigium can fill in the shoes. He's a very adaptable player, and he's hopped into the AD carry role before and done quite well. So I'm expecting great things from him being back on the Rift now.
Yeah, it's good to see him back in the AD carry role. He is quite the underrated AD carry. A lot of people don't know that, except for us OGs, so to speak. But it's good to see that he's back to his old former self, when I remember taking him on a while back.
Yeah,
but what are your thoughts on these bans, though?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, Tristana first pick is pretty interesting, really prioritizing that away. I think Prodigium never really was big Tristana player, was more Ardmona, so they might be a bit faked out by this Destiny roster swap. But Ophelia is getting picked up straight away. I know Prodigium loves 200 years champions like that, so he's going to pick that up. But the bans, yeah, no surprise, Syndra being taken away. DSD Guard was a huge Syndra player. With the recent buffs, it's only going to get worse. But what is a surprise is Gwen being picked up here. I have not seen anyone on this DSC play that yet, and I can only assume it's going towards that top lane. That's recently just been heavily nerfed. The champions lost so much earlier already.
Yeah, just playing in solo queue and reading the patch notes, Gwen has been more prioritized in the jungle as of late. But he's still okay. She's still okay in the top lane, but just based off the numbers, like Clear is still pretty good in the jungle, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's up against that Mundo. But yeah, Mundo top lane, hey?
I think she survives, but losing 20% attack speed for a jungler on your E there, that is a huge loss if you ask me. And if they're still trying to make that pick work, more props to them. We'll see whether it works out. But Dr. Mundo and Shyvana, a champion that was recently buffed, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see whether that can make a return, because we haven't seen much Shyvana. It was quite prevalent. I would say quite prevalent, but it was picked up quite a few times last season, and I believe not a single time this season. So making her debut back onto the Rift is Shyvana here. For the likes of Curitin, I can only assume going into that jungle, and the Forsaken on his patented Mundo performed really well against that For Fun team, and Yorick for Jimbo Baggins, one of his favorite picks there. He's going to be picking that up into the Mundo matchup. We'll see how he does, but
Yeah, so just based off these current bans, it looks like they're maybe guessing Tristana's actually going in the mid lane. I could be wrong. But it is definitely pretty viable in the mid lane regardless. And KO being taken away, okay.
yeah, Easy Doctor.
Nerfed as well.
Yeah, Easy Doctor, definitely an adaptable player. He plays a lot of mid lane champions who have seen him take those AD carries into that mid lane role and do pretty well on them. So no surprise there that they're still trying to suss out where this Tristana is going. But yeah, for the side of AD Astra here, they are just taking away those supports. That Trundle is a bit strange though. We have seen Trundle rise up in popularity, and definitely into the Mundo is going to inhibit him a lot, even into the Shyvana. If she stacks up this dragon, she ends up getting quite a few resistances. So you can see why they take that one away, and Silas is going to be the pick here. Another nerfed pick. But I think everything on the side of DSC, apart from that, well, I guess that's only 2 champions. Aphelios, I think, recently got buffed. But another buff, finally. A buff champion, Cassiopeia, getting double her damage on her E amplified version. I think it's a bit of a fooling buff. I think 10 damage per rank is not per rank, per E cast is a huge deal, but you gotta read it closely because that is on the amplified E, and she still is going to be suffering on those mana problems she suffers from early. I believe her E base damage is already at least 50, so adding a 10 damage onto it, it ends up doing 70 instead of 60 that it was doing before. So it's a buff for sure, definitely on one of her most used abilities, but it doesn't really fix Cassio's core issues. But he ends up just blind picking it here. We'll see whether that Tristana can handle it, because with that Jhin lock-in, looks like it is definitely going into that mid lane here. And interesting draft coming out from AD Astra.
Yeah, it's definitely quite unorthodox, but I can see what they're trying to achieve here. But I feel like the Lulu pick kind of accelerates Tristana, Jhin, or any of those champions in general. But the way that DSD is guarded, looks like they're running a very strong one-on split comp with Yorick, and with Gwen, Aphelios, Cassio, and Lux all being far back, it's going to be a bit hard pressed for Mundo and Shyvana to get in there. So
yeah, both teams really don't have any viable way to engage here. I think the Mundo just flat out running at you is like the only option for the side of AD Astra, apart from a Tristana just jumping in on a target that's called out. But again, for the side of DSC, just outside of a Lux binding or maybe an Aphelios ult with purple gun here, they're looking, both teams are just probably going to be having a lot of Mexican standoffs until someone just runs in and takes the brunt of the damage here. And that is a lot of damage on the side of AD Astra being drafted, with the 2 AD carries being locked in, and of course running into an Aphelios or Cassiopeia is not going to be any better. So definitely going to be interesting to see how these teams engage these fights. I think it is going to be still a lot about that early game and laning phase and the rotations before even team fights become a thing. So we'll see which team ends up getting the better, because I believe DSC have just been getting snowballed on lately and they haven't been able to recover. So this team that usually lanes so well has been getting knocked over early. So it definitely something to be watching out for DST. But
hopefully they come back to form.
We'll see whether they can do it. Right now, we're going to go over to our sponsors, give them their proper shout out, with Paul's Iced Coffee, Northern Territory Government, and McDonald's Darwin showing up on your screen right now. They're major sponsors of the season, helping us out so much. Thank you so much to them, and we're going to go over to the minor sponsors, give them their proper shout out. I probably remember these off by heart now. Next Year Entertainment, Serotonic Beauty, VR Gamers, Gaming Creations, Tracy Village Social and Sports Club, House Ring 7, The Rabbit Hole, Palettes of India, Fresh Point, John John's, Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gym, and Bell Accounting, all helping us out and setting up minor events like what I'm about to show you, because we didn't get too much time to talk about it last time. Here comes the poster for the Press Start event. Next Tier Gaming and Esports is teaming up with the GG Social Club to host a bit of a party for the mid-season here. It's not quite perfectly in the middle, but close enough. Hope you guys are clearing up your weekend on August 7th. It's on a Saturday, 6 p.m. We're going to be having a party. There's going to be karaoke, going to be video games, esports tournaments. We're still sussing out which ones. David has his eye on the mobile games, because, we can't really bring out our controllers to the pub and that, but we can definitely bring our phones. So looking to set some games like that. There's going to be board games, photo booths, costume comps as always. You guys can dress up, do whatever you want. And there's going to be stuff to win, like discount vouchers, guys. So make sure you're turning up to this event just for all that, but most importantly, just get involved with the community. Do you reckon you're going to be going, Chris?
It depends. We have a family event at 3 o'clock, and if we finish on time, then I should be able to swing on by straight after. So I would say yes at this stage. How about yourself, Liam?
I'm definitely going to this event. I cannot wait to let loose. Have been working too much recently, so an opportunity like this, catch up with the guys, and hopefully just get to know everyone in the esports scene better. Just a bit out of touch, am I? Like once upon a time, I was very involved when we're hosting events in person, but nowadays all online. There's lots of people dying to meet in person. Hopefully, you guys watching can turn up to this event, and we all get to mingle a little bit. Because I'd love to meet you guys. So make sure you guys are clearing that event, even if you can't. Sure, try have some workarounds in place. Like Chris here, he might be making his guest appearance despite having those prior things. He still wants to make it. Hopefully you guys feel the same way. So without further ado, we should be getting into game shortly, and just going back into the drafts. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of a down and dirty rundown. Who do you think won draft here?
Based off just pure draft in terms of champion viability, I'd say Destiny got the slight upper hand here in terms of just overall damage in a 4v4 or even 5v5 scenario. They have a few more win conditions than Astra at the moment with the Yorick split as well. Mundo won't be able to stop that Juggernaut once he gets his core 3 items, and he's going to run amok. But hopefully this Shyvana will be able to answer in some way, shape or form, because it looks like ACST on this Gwen's going to pretty much have a free jungle this entire time, and also taking Ghost as well. So I'd say Destiny's slightly one draft phase compared to Astra, but Astra's draft is also very strong as well.
Yeah, they're definitely looking to run people down with this comp there with that Gwen running the Ghost there. It's a bit of a struggle early game. She's not too great at chasing down champions, but once you start getting some levels, that Ghost ends up giving you more move speed, and Gwen's cooldowns start getting much lower. She starts dancing around. It becomes very hard to deal with that W in tow. But I still think draft is ever so slightly in Destiny's favor there because of that double 80 carry is going to be much harder to pilot, I feel. But if we're talking about perfect situation, just everyone's piloting their champions perfectly, I can see this game being very even. But still, they have to be careful of the 200 years champion. I think that's really what's skewing it for me now with the lethality build becoming meta, of building that collector second and going lethality instead of that attack speed. When you put your points into your stats there as a Phelios, it actually allows you to nuke out the champions like Tristana and Jhin if they're not careful. So we'll have to see whether Prodigium's adapted to the meta, because he has been out for a bit. But I'd say that sort of build here is going to absolutely do plenty of work into the AD Astra composition. But still, have to be wary of that Mundo, looking for that Cassio to burn down these frontline tanks.
Yeah, if Prodigium goes Imperial Shield though, it depends what kind of first core item or mythic item he's going to go for. And he's probably the most vulnerable person outside of DST Guard to actually get called out by, for example, like Kiritine, Shyvana, or Easy DR, Tristana. But he is running a standard Conqueror setup with heals, so he's just going to be looking to scale. And hopefully Ultimate Feeder and Chan 9000 can actually take advantage of the early game. But we've got to see if Katie Cat has anything to say about it. And a very presumptuous flash coming out of DST Guard got taken advantage of at level 1.
Yeah, that's a very surprising flash, especially when you're running something like the teleport. Usually you can take a disadvantage trade, just play out the lane as well as you can from that point and just burn that teleport to get back into it. But he decides he doesn't need the flash early on, he's going to burn it. I suppose the Shyvana doesn't really put out that much threat, so probably not going to get punished too hard for that. But definitely if Tristana sees any more angles, it's going to be a lot deadlier with that flash being down.
Yeah, so they have a bit of a window now, AD Astra, to take advantage of DST Guard. The snakeless boot, that is that champion. But they're already shoving lane quite hard here. So Prodigium and Katy Cat very confident in their early lane phase compared to Ultimate Feeder 9000. But Yorick here just wreaking havoc. Oh,
Yeah,
that's some damage.
You gotta be very respectful once he has those ghouls up and ready to go, because if you don't respect him, you see what happened to Forsaken's health bar there. Half his health so early on into the game. We're already getting nuked down by that Yorick. If he meets the right conditions, that champion can absolutely melt you. And Jimbo definitely knows those conditions. Forsaken has to play a little bit safe now, loosen out that health, and yeah, he's getting caught out again, and he's gonna have to burn Flash there.
Yeah, just not respecting and spacing enough and not farming with cleavers, but it could be a bait, but I'm pretty sure he's just gonna walk away from here.
Yeah, Kirateen looking to save his top, but Jimbo, too intelligent, just takes a safe reset, figures out he's got enough of an advantage, already built up, decides to reset here. And yeah, not going to find anything. Kirateen is the X factor of AD Astra, often finding so many successful ganks, contributing so many of their kills, but still keep your eye on the likes of Easy Doctor, who has performed time and time again, and he's already doing pretty well into this mid lane matchup. Just spare the CS. I think now he's got the wave crashing into him. He might balance out that CS, but definitely with that flash advantage, might be looking to make some plays.
Yeah, and with that Tristana Cassio matchup, what do you think will be Easy Doctor's first actual item going into? Oh, we've got a bit of engage here.
Chen is going down. Asuko finds the flank around, and the slow gun is just setting him up so well. Aphelios trying to find that kill, just living on a slither of health. Ultimate Feeder makes his way out there, and yeah, that was already a very early gank from that Gwen coming through there. Just vision superiority, just dancing around that ward line, able to find that flank, and there's not much that Chen can do. Even with the flash, Aphelios has the slow gun, locking you down, and with the Lux follow-up, it's just only so much you can do. But yeah, they are going to find themselves a little bit of an advantage in that bot lane. People who do not deal well with the Prodigium's aggression always tend to fall behind here, and that's really the difference between him and Ardmona. I'd say Ardmona is more calculated. He likes to scale up a bit more, play to AD carry strengths, but Prodigium is just pedal to the metal, always pressuring as much as he can, just skill checking his opponents, and yeah, we see that already in the bot lane. But
yeah, and go ahead.
I was just gonna go towards that mid lane matchup now. There's not too much happening. Yeah, I do think this matchup is even, but once you start getting into that mid game, it's really where Cassio starts to spike. When she gets 5 points in that E, she's absolutely going to shred you in an all-in, and with that ultimate being available, it really makes 1v1s hard. You really got to outplay that petrifying gaze. So I'd say Cassio definitely, if she comes out even in the early game, or God forbid ahead of that Tristana, she's definitely going to start to scale up. Especially when you have access to items like Seekers, you can just make this matchup really easy for yourself. But
oh no.
yeah, for a second here, no flash. Jimbo Baggins is going to push this into an all-in. His ghouls are not quite helping him out as much as he'd like, but still.
He stepped on it.
He's going to go for the E. The ghoul's going to finish him off. He flashes forwards, but the trade is here. Kirateen and Easy Doctor have found the counterplay, and they're going to pick up Jimbo Baggins now. I think there's a bit of a misplay. Someone should push that top wave out, because I feel like it's just going to slow push towards Jimbo Baggins. He has that teleport, so he can maybe burn it here to pick up max CS, but I think it's only going to slow push to him anyway, so he doesn't need a teleport. So yeah, a bit of wave mismanagement might end up biting AD Astra, because the Forsaken's already behind here. That's going to set him even further behind, and potentially even set up to a freeze for this Yorick, which is going to put him in a really bad spot. So hopefully things don't get out of control for AD Astra's top lane, because things are looking pretty hard already for the bot lane of AD Astra here. They're getting absolutely zoned out on this wave.
Yeah, and he is trying to CS the best he can. Ultimate Feeder being a bit behind here in terms of XP and just gold in general. But it seems to be the difference maker is Lux is not actually spamming the waves as hard as she should be. They're setting up dives accordingly. But I really like to actually turn to the jungle, where Kirateen should just be farming this entire time. She has been lingering in lanes a little bit, and maybe that's just me, but she should be trying to clear as much camps as possible, and also looking to counter jungle as well, just try to accelerate her champion. But That Cloud Drake was actually picked up. I did notice.
Yeah, Destiny picked it up real early on after that bot lane play. They rotated straight over that Cloud Drake and picked it up. But yeah, definitely Shyvana with the recent buff, so hold that thought, just going to go straight into DSC guard. He has flash available here, so I think he's safe. But still, big cooldown burnt again, and this is really where you start to be worried as that caster. You still have access to that ult, but if Shyvana comes back again to your mid lane with that ultimate available, it's going to be very hard to escape that gank here. And Shyvana builds her ult really quick now, especially with the changes to her Q. She has it up 2 seconds early game is such a huge difference, and Forsaken is just not having a good time at all in this top lane. Jimbo's going for the dive, he's still holding onto the ult. Forsaken's trying to turn it, and he does! Finds the kill onto Jimbo Baggins, overstepping his boundaries. He says, "Sir, you do not go where you please," and I turn these and takes him down. Really well played from the Forsaken there, catching him out. Wow.
Yeah,
what a
just
turnaround.
a bit too greedy. A bit too greedy coming out of Jimbo Baggins. He just thought that buying a Sheen would be enough to actually get the kill, but the extra armor cloth saving Forsaken's life. And now he has a breath of fresh air coming in the top lane. He's not going to be uber behind anymore, but Destiny do answer with a Shelly that's going to be coming up shortly.
Yeah, the support coming up. Katie Cat was basically hugging Ardmona with that Cogmore Lulu bot lane, but now that she's access to the Lux, she's rotating around the map. Prodigion probably just sitting pretty, says it's fine. They opening up the map for DSC like they usually do. But Prodigion might be caught out here. Nope, he's still fine. Gonna be safe under his tower. So yeah, Destiny really rotating their players well to secure objectives here. And yeah, Kiratine trying to farm as much as he can, build an advantage, so that he can get to those core Shyvana items like that Nash's, where he really starts becoming a powerhouse. But
Do you think she'll pick up Night Harvester this game?
Honestly, not too familiar with the items. I think that is probably the best in the slot there. But yeah, other than that, we've seen Kiratine go stuff like Riftmaker on Diana Jungle. He could go for the more Bruisers build. It probably works even better than it did before with the cooldown reduction that they added to her. But still, yeah, Night Harvester definitely easiest to play. You just drop your E, you get so much movement speed, position yourself for the next big E in the team fight. And yeah, I'd expect that to come through. But unknowing Kiratine, nothing is certain here. This dude likes to play very aggressive, even on champions like Shyvana, which aren't aggressive by nature. He's constantly looking for angles.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Easy Doctor bully DSD guard just a little bit more, being flashless and low on mana. Hopefully he'll be able to pick up a plate or two, but Shyvana is hovering.
Yeah, and he's going to go straight onto Katie Cat. Blown up! Where did she go?
Oh my God.
Gets taken down. Kiratine looking for another E onto Prodigion, trying to heal up as much as he can, turning around. But Kiratine has his E up, burns the flash. Now Jin's opening the curtain call. Can Gwen get there in time? I believe she does. Blocks the curtain call. We've got more action in the top lane, but the Forsaken is sitting pretty under his tower, and they're going to look to convert that into a dragon. But Asuko and DC Guard are decently healthy. DC Guard is low on mana. That's the only thing they really have to be concerned about. Asuko, ready to fight here, has everything available to him. They're going to surely look to contest this, knowing DST coming in for that smite. It's going to be a 50-50, but Jin picks up with the fourth shot. He's looking to pick up Kiratine. They're just kiting out Asuko, still looking for that angle. Misses the final ultimate onto ultimate feeder, and they're just going to disengage. Dropping Herald mid, trying to pick up some gold as they try and reset.
Yeah, very well played coming out of AD Astra, understanding their champion's limits and just getting the dragon and getting out. And that's forced DST to respond with Shelly in the mid lane, hopefully be able to pick up at least 3 plates of gold here.
Yeah, and that is going to give them the gold lead just for a time being. Just a tiny lead, but yeah, neck and neck game here. And you can only see that as a win for Destiny, I suppose, as they got snowballed on pretty early on by the other teams. Oh, the Forsaken so close. If that trapped him in there, you could only see him going down with that Maiden being summoned. So much damage would have been dealt to him. Escapes with his life there, but still, rough situation for him.
Oh, so rough.
Asuko pathing towards that top lane. Definitely going to be looking for that dive there. Mondo holding onto the ult, but he's
very vulnerable.
If he doesn't regen enough in time, pops the ult now. Asuko calling it off. Jimbo Baggins tanking tower again, taking too much. damage before the play has even started. They end up just getting a plate there, but the caveat is they get the teleport out of Easy Doctor. He burns that just to keep his top laner safe, able to farm up that wave. But yeah, it is going to be leaking. Every time Easy Doctor does make a play top lane, it gives DSD Guard a bit of breathing room to get himself back into the game. He's just picked up another plate and a wave over the enemy mid laner there.
Yeah, and small advantages coming out of Destiny throughout the course of the late lane phase. Oh!
Prodigium's trying to turn around, he has a flamethrower, he's hitting them all, the beautiful Lux Layla, but only ends up hitting one because of beautiful flash. They end up picking them up in the 3v2.
Oh, God.
God has something to say. Kiratine's trying to kite out for his life here. The curtain call, and Kiratine can possibly turn this around. He's trying to find the E angle, but DSD God finds a beautiful ult, but here comes Easy Doctor, taking him down with the rocket jumps. One by one knocks them over, and AD Astra are just giving Destiny another run for their money.
Oh. Kiratine and the Shyvana, eh? Definitely working out for AD Astra.
Yeah, and
I'm quite impressed, actually.
This isn't even her strong point. Once she really starts to get that ability haste, she becomes a menace with those E's. So already, AD Astra performing so well. Easy Doctor, 3-0 on this Tristana mid, gonna be such a monster. GC Guard definitely have to play well. Asuko is trying to trade back for his team. He's not been very active this game, but now he has found Chen Chen out of position and taking him down. Beautiful trade-off by the Destiny jungler there.
Yeah, just to get one back and just try to stay in this game. Keep it really close as they scale throughout. But nice couple of plates coming out for Easy Doctor. Managed to pick up 2 plates, I believe, before the timer ran out at 14 minutes. So this Tristana is definitely accelerated and able to pick up a mythic and completed boots.
Yeah, and I'm just very worried for them here because there's so much AD threat, but that we see how much damage that Shyvana is able to put out. They're going to have to itemize both armor and magic resist, but these champions don't really, they are not able to do that, so I'm expecting this Shyvana to just be chunking out these champions like this Lux, like this Aphelios, like this Cassio, all going to be getting chunked out if they're not positioning around that Shyvana in these fights. And yeah, we see what happens if Tristana is able to find that free angle in, just already rocket jumping through, getting so many kills. And AD Astra do really play intelligently. This team do like to rotate around the map. They play around each other so well. Kiratine's always around his lanes. Such good lane proximity. Easy Doctor rotating around the map. This team is doing so well. And yeah, I can only expect great things coming into the second half of the season, and already I believe that first run in with DSD went very poor, but I thought Chen Chen might be called out. DSD Guard trying to finish him off. Chen Chen without ultimate maybe there, doesn't end up burning it and ends up picking up a free kill on that Cassio. Unlucky when you're on support duty just trying to get that vision line. And yeah, a single enemy champion can take you down there. And that's exactly what happened. Kiratine looking for a play. He still goes on it. Jimbo Baggins trying to make it back to his tower. They might even look for the dive. They have Mundo ult, but no, they decide against it with Asuko being off the map. But still, big flash. He has teleport, but he's deciding to stay. Kiratine's going to burn you down if you're not careful.
Yeah, he's hoping to use his...
He's just staying. Surely they go for this dive. They're really respecting the side of Destiny with that teleport, possibly Asuko being there so much. But yeah, I think Jimbo was definitely dead there if they committed to that play. But DSC are committing to this dragon right now, and if you're the side of AD Astra, I think you just give this dragon and try to trade out these towers, try to get that gold advantage, possibly even the Rift Herald there, because yeah, they're just fully committed to it. Should be able to pick up a lot more gold for yourselves.
Yeah, and even though the gold is very close, Forsaken is actually probably at a disadvantage now for taking that turret. Either Jimbo Baggins can freeze, or he has a longer lane to actually chase down Forsaken. So they've given Yorick a bit of a window here to actually try and get a lead back up, because right now Forsaken's only on 76 CS, and he's going to be forced to take this rift, group of his team, and he's going to be a little gold hungry at the moment. So let's just see what Jimbo Baggins does with this slight advantage that he has in the top lane with that turret being offline.
No, I like AD Astra as a team when they play around each other, but they still have errors in the macro game here. We see they rotate their entire team up there, but the Destiny bot lane doesn't move an inch. They're completely giving that objective, so you didn't have to rotate your entire team over towards that side of the map here. So that is going to be a bit of gold bled out there, and that's possibly even just going to counter the gold that you're able to pick up from the Rift Herald. So still have some question marks to look at in the playbook of AD Astra, but still I do like how this team play around each other so well. And yeah, if they're able to fix small errors like that, then this lead would be ballooned into a lot bigger one. But still, definitely 1,000 gold lead is not enough to guarantee anybody's victory at all. Destiny is still completely within this game here, and I'm looking towards those dragon fights as the game continues to really just spark the flame of a fight here, because like we said, these teams really lack engage, so even if they find picks, it's really hard to kill someone because they're just going to split away, they're going to run away from you. But when you're forced to fight for those objectives like that, you don't have to engage, they come to you, and whoever has the control, they're going to have that advantageous position. But we'll see. Vision is an important part. We're seeing teams play around it now. Chan. Oh, big ult there. Easy Doctor has to ult him away there, but it's too little too late. Finds him completely sleeping there. And yeah, Casuarina trying to find a play in the mid lane, but unfortunately they're playing well around that Shyvana. And DSC Guard now is able to just completely nuke out that... Oh, careful. Prodigium stepping forward. Jin trying to find something, but ends up getting turned on. It's so many abilities, but has the flash to get to safety. Chan holding ult, and another ultimate drop now. Curtain Call trying to find some vengeance. He said, give me my flash back. And yeah, just burns it, but doesn't quite find anything in return. Just a little bit of lane priority, and the game has been paused.
Yeah, and I think Katie Cat might have been lagging because that was a very delayed combo coming out. Could have actually picked up ultimate feeder there. That's only my assumption at this stage, because the ult came out probably, you know, even a second late, and it was given enough time for ultimate feeder to flash out and essentially get ulted by Chan. But yeah, looks like ACST's out of the game.
Yeah,
at
definitely just a little bit of a moment of respite for both these teams now. Just looking across the board, we're actually seeing DST Guard come back into the game. We see him pick up that huge pick onto Easy Doctor there, and that's going to spike him right back into a position of power. Both mid lane is basically even when it comes to gold. But yeah, I'd say the biggest difference is definitely that jungle. There's a pretty significant 1,000 gold lead into that role there. And if you look at the gold at the top, then the gold is basically even, so the jungle being up 1,000 gold is pretty huge. And when he comes to items like that Night Harvester, it's gonna be so big for him. But still, I think the side of AD Astra, they do want to just weather the storm, try not to get picked by that Cassio like we just saw, and just farm up, hit those big item spikes, and come into those dragon fights with huge power. They don't really have too much executioners or grievous wounds on the side of DST yet, so that Mundo, even though he's not as strong, he's still going to be bringing a lot of value into those team fights. But yeah, if these AD carries haven't hit their items, they're not quite going to bring as much damage as that Cassio can put out.
Yeah, and it's going to be up to DST Guard with these mechanical outplays and positioning. And we looks like we're a bit frozen here, Blade, unfortunately.
Yeah, the game spectates doesn't like pauses very much. This happens quite frequently, but at least we know we're synced up if we're both paused.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So we're back into the game now. Both spot lanes just trying to fight over that mid priority to try and get that bastion that is mid lane, so that teams can rotate and get those vision lines across the board here. But there's really nothing to fight over, so we're just having a bit of a farming simulator. But you have to be careful because you're making aggressive plays like Chan is. You can get caught out. Unfortunately, not the right guns there for Prodigium to capitalize, so they are just going to settle for a positive trade. But yeah, Prodigium went the Gale Force this game, and that is definitely not usually what you go onto the side of a Felos. Normally, you're going that shield bow, so you can 200 years people. It works so well with guns like the Chakram or like the red gun. You just heal so much, and you're able to turn fights with that Conquest so well. They're looking for guard here. He has flash and ultimate, but that burns so much damage. He's sitting on top of the Shyvana E, but he ends up turning it around. Curateam's gonna look for that second E, but no, just gonna run for his life. Jimbo Baggin's trying to catch him here, but they're looking to collapse onto that teleport. Mundo goes where his pleases, but he's unfortunately a bit outnumbered here, so he's going to be running for the hills. They're trying to send Aaron here to bail him out, but unfortunately Curateam has no ultimate now, so the champion that is Shyvana is no longer that powerful. So yeah, they're going to have to concede control of this bot wave, and DST Guard playing it so well in a situation that looked grim for him there. Still held on to flash and everything, played it calm and calculated, and completely turned it around. And that is the weakness of the Tristana into the, oh my god, you gotta be careful, ultimate feeder. That is a Gale Force and Felios, but Curateam is trying to find the kill, and he just runs into W range and picks him up.
Double TP.
Yeah, and has to be careful. Tristana might get picked off, but unfortunately doesn't have the petrifying gaze to get that slow onto the Tristana there. so ends up just being able to walk out. But yeah, definitely going to convert into a tower with that damage chunk. But
A cheeky Rift Shield here.
and it ends up getting the
One for
tower.
one.
Yeah, more gold onto the side of Casuarina, and he is getting quite huge. If he's able to pick up a big item like Rabadon's third, he's absolutely going to tear people apart in team fights, and he's definitely the player to watch. But right now, we see that Easy Doctor's not really in a position of power. If you end up getting that that Quicksilver, yeah, straight up face checking here. The Forsaken is just too far ahead with no ultimate. He has flash. Is he able to find his way out? No, he's not. And the Lux ultimate goes a bit wide onto Chin there. And this is all just in time for that dragon. I know AD Astra want to contest this so bad, but it doesn't look like they're able to do it. Possibly just a steal from the Shyvana. He's in ult form. He's dropped his E there, so I don't think they're going to be able to steal it. Jimbo Baggins blocking the curtain call. Yeah, Asuko is going to secure that one away. The Curateam looking to find some big E's, and look at the damage onto KD Cat there. The next one might even take her down with Dark Harvest. She has to be careful, but they just have to reset. Curateam is actually sitting on 1,500 gold here, so I think he's able to purchase his Mythic on his next recall. But yeah, we haven't seen these AD carries really spike in power since their last fight here. Easy Doctor's been sitting on those items for a long time here, so I think AD Astra just have to stall the game until that next dragon fight and really just go all or nothing on that one. I think Curateam, if he's able to just build those items that make him the strongest for the next fight, it's going to matter the most here, because I do want to see the item like Rabadon's. He might be able to start getting those one shots, but he's not going to have that by the next dragon fight, and that is where the game will probably be decided. So hopefully they're itemizing intelligently for that objective coming up here.
Yeah, and they're in a position to actually stall here, but they are on a timer with that soul coming up for Destiny. It's going to be a bit rough for them after the next 5 minutes if they aren't able to secure that dragon, and the fact that if Destiny can get a hold of that dragon will just solidify their positioning even more in this game. But it looks like Yorick might get caught out.
Asuko's stalking here. He's here for the play. He ends up picking up that Yorick, but Asuko is here to find the counter kill. So many needles coming through. He's looking for the dive as well, but he's going to get turned around on, finds the kill into Shyvana, but Ultimate Feeder is surely going to be able to pick up that kill. And another play in the bot lane. Easy Doctor caught out again by DST Guard. This time, no ultimate required. He just picks him off, and he's got so much stronger than his opponent in the mid lane here. And
yeah, a bit of a macro coming out of Easy Doctor. Even though the jump animation is a bit slower, did have flash up to actually try and dodge any of Cassio's initial damage, but just got caught out, plain and simple. DST Guard really knows how to play her Cassio very well, and they're just starting to accelerate this game now, and it's starting to balloon to a near 3k gold lead if they're able to pick up the bottom turret.
Yeah, Prodigium hasn't made any crazy plays, but he's always been in the right lane here, punishing them for their rotations and picking himself up so much gold to help balloon that that advantage that DST have here. And going into this dragon fight, it's going to be very hard for them. Tristana has picked up the Storm Razor. It's a little bit of a power spike, but nothing huge. I'm looking for Cosmic Drive to come through onto that Shyvana. If she's able to pick that up for the next fight, she's going to be shooting out so many more E's, and it's going to be crucial for their victory here. But yeah, I think this Mundo right now, he has no magic resist itemized. This Cassio is so huge, so is this Gwen. It's going to be so hard for him to just frontline for his team without just getting knocked over instantly. And we see even champions like this Yorick are tanking up Tristana pretty easily.
Yeah, and this is where we see Destiny's actual comp shine. And he decides to Gale Force in.
Yeah,
and forces his flash.
Yeah, that was a bit of a waste of flash. I don't think Aphelios is that 200 years. He's not going the lethality build like I discussed here. So definitely nowhere near as much damage onto squishies as that build, but hung on here. They're looking for a possible play. The Forsaken, I don't know how this has happened, but he's getting chased down by a Cassio, and he's not sure where to go. He could have just walked through tower. Mundo does go where he's pleased, but he decides to fight us, and you do not win this at all. The Cassio is running the Conqueror, has so much healing, way more than the Mundo at this point, and yeah, Mundo with no magic resist, you're not winning that fight here. And Jimbo Baggins now going on to Easy Doctor. Easy Doctor just not had a good time in the side lane. I do believe he picked off Prodigium at the very least there. I had no idea what happened to Prodigium, but yeah, gets that kill. Ends up going down to Jimbo Baggins though, so it's a net positive play for DST because that assist. Jin's here to try hold the tower, but he's just absolutely tickling. This Yorick, Jin not known for killing tanks, but even bruises he seems to be struggling with right now. And yeah, if he doesn't respect this joke, he's going to cage him.
He better back off here quick. And yeah, that just shows that Ultimate Feeder, even though he's not that far behind, it just shows that the champion just doesn't do any damage, as you mentioned, to just tanks in general. And he's not even relatively that tanky, he just has armor boots essentially. So yeah, they definitely need to look to scale here and try to catch out DST guard, and they're going to be pressured very soon once this 4th dragon comes up, or 5th dragon comes up.
It is coming up so soon, and look at the vision control. Chen Chen's probably going to die here. He's just trying to get wards for his team, but look at the flank. Katie Cat and Asuko. Q goes wide, but fortunately not many positions for him to run it out. The Kiritine lands the ultimate and absolutely nukes down Katie Cat. Asuko trying to turn it around with the Gwen there, landing all his needles, doing so much damage and just absolutely tearing apart that Shyvana, but unfortunately isn't able to find the kill. They are in a very good position though to finish off this dragon and get themselves Ocean Soul, which is going to be so disgusting on a champion like Gwen and Cassiopeia. They're looking to find Jimbo back, and some nice damage comes through. The curtain call comes through now. They're actually nuking him down. Surely his teammates are going to bail him out here. Easy Doctor trying to find an angle, but the petrifying gaze are wide, but the jungler's not in the pit. He has no way to get over for this smite, and they end up securing the soul here. Kiritine, no ultimate. Unfortunately, it does inhibit it, what he's able to do on the Shyvana pick.
Yeah, and the fact that they forced that fight so early when Dragon was coming up.
He's flashing straight in, but unfortunately he lost vision, so it just looks like he's straight up inting. He knows that he's dropping the XC from the chat. And Easy Duck in the side lane again. He's able to ult him away. Has the jump available, I can only assume. But yeah, just not a fun time for this Tristana in the side lane. Normally she's able to build up a big enough lead so that she can just straight up just DPS race the opponent in the side lane. But yeah, not the case in this game at all. She's not having a fun time versus champions like Gwen and Cassio. And yeah, it's looking pretty rough now for AD Astra.
It is rough.
3 Ocean Souls. They've itemized a lot of Grievous wounds already. You gotta respect them for that, but I don't think it's going to be enough with the gold lead on top of it.
They definitely need some Elder Dragons, so to speak, to try and stay in this game essentially, but it's just gonna be so hard for Kiritine to actually get in that pit when someone like DSD guards hit their core item build with Rylai's and with Ocean Soul on top of it, and Jimbo just pushing the side lane. It's just looking very rough for them.
Surely it doesn't work again. Nice dodge by Kiritine. Completely outplays DSD guard by turning around at the right time there, and the team is there. 1,000 gold shutdown. And, I thought it was going to happen again. Actually, I believe if DSD guard opens with the ultimate there, it has enough range to catch Tristana, and it works within a 180 degree angle. So even if Tristana's looking 90 degrees away from you, doesn't look like she's facing Cassio at all, it still gets the sun there. So I think there's a bit of a misplay there from DSD guard, ends up amounting to a 1,000 gold shutdown, but still with the Ocean Soul, it's still not looking possible for AD Astra to make this comeback very easily. Prodigium, we're seeing with this attack speed build, has no problems with taking down champs like Mundo. If you give him enough time, he's definitely going to shred him, but not as quite as effective as the Prodigium would like to be, sitting on a 1-4 scoreline, but still definitely not weak by any means.
Yeah, and it's good that Kiritine actually got the gold, the 1,000 gold, able to hopefully complete a Rabadons of some sort, and getting engaged on here.
Huge play there, trying to find a play onto the bot lane, but they're also chasing down Asuko on the top side of your screen. He ends up getting out cleanly there, the Ocean Soul helping him out so much with the healing. On top of that, already strong Gwen healing. And yeah, now they're just trying to run for the hills. Chen rather, is getting left for dead. Unfortunately, no way out of that situation. Prodigium just fighting off the entire AD Astra team by himself, but unfortunately, you're not going to fight off that Shyvana E. And he ends up going down.
Prodigium limit testing the last 2 skirmishes or so, but able to open up mid just about, and bot also opened up as well. So they have a chance to actually just take Baron here. There's just absolutely no vision coming out of AD Astra, but they're opting to go for these jungle skirmishes in classic DST fashion.
Yeah, Asuko running for the hills, has that cosmic drive, giving him a little bit of movement speed that he needs to get away. They really have no chance. The root's not going to amount to much. He's gone. But yeah, they definitely have to be worried about this Baron objective right now. Side of DST is so strong. DST guard probably going to back for his Zhonya's here, so it's even harder to dive and burst down this Cassiopeia. So they're losing their ways back into this game here, it seems. Prodigium, oh, they're actually going to side themselves. They have them on a reset, Asuka on the other side of the map, but Jimbo has the teleport available, and he's actually just going to go for the trade onto the inhibitor. So it looks like they are going to pick up this Baron unless that miracle still comes through. It does not. There's beautiful smite there for Kiritine. Chin, the sole defender, unfortunately does not deal too well with that Yorick, and is going to have to burn that ultimate to stay alive. But DST guard on the hunt here. Isuko going onto ultimate feeder over that wall. Kiritine trying to peel off his ADK, doing all he can, and it's sort of working. And Mundo getting caught out by the bot lane now. He's running for the hills, but yeah, unfortunately Mundo goes where he pleases. Continues to get out of that situation. And,
he's really good at running away, that's for sure.
yeah, it's a rough one to defend here. But they have Baron now, which helps them out a decent amount. The Forsaken is just completely dead here. Unfortunately, the Casio is going to tear him apart. Still, no magic resist. Really itemized for this Mundo. He's just been starved of gold. Hasn't been able to be the big tank that his team needs him to be in this game.
And that's what happens when you get suffocated in the top lane. If you aren't able to help your top laner on the island, leave him alone, then Jimbo's going to run away with the game. And he's pretty much has double everything that Forsaken has. And right now, AD Astra is just trying to stop the bleeding as much as possible, while Destiny looking for the macro all around the map. Ooh!
DST are limit testing left, right, and center. If they didn't give out these huge shutdowns, they would be so far ahead here. But they're giving some opportunities. Do we still have to admit this side of AD Astra still scale up pretty well here with the double AD carry setup? Unfortunately, if we give this Jim too much time, he might end up start chunking this Yorick. But he's going the lethality side of things. They're looking to burst out these squishies that are out of position. So
yeah. And I just noticed Kiritine actually got Magi's. Do you actually agree with it this late in the game?
I think with the scoreline he's rocking, he's actually okay by. They're looking for just immediate power, and it's going to pay off if they end up getting these advantage trades. And I don't know what Destiny are doing. They have a huge lead here, but Elder Dragon is still Elder Dragon. Yes, Prodigium's going to get that mid lane inhibitor, most likely, but I don't know. Now with Mundo with Elder, he might be able to win this out. The teleport comes through to keep the AD carry safe, and yeah, they're going to just walk their ways out of that. But Elder Dragon is still a huge bonus, and I think the game's easily even now, and just Prodigium's dead.
Oh!
Yeah, not much to say about that. The Jin Ws have been coming quite clutch here to catch out these people on the retreat for the side of Destiny, but yeah, the Magi's now looking so much stronger with those 4 stacks. They can only really get better if Kiritine continues to play as well as he is playing. I think Magi's, when you buy it 0 stacks like this, at least, you know, if you're in a losing position, you're just going to lose anyway. But if you end up making those shutdown picks, you end up finding some picks, it actually ends up being so much more valuable than just the gold you get off the kill, because you end up getting those stacks, which would make you a lot stronger. And look at Destiny are now getting sieged by AD Astra. Kiritine is not here though, so I do believe they have to be very careful. Forsaken's going to try to run his way out of there with the help of Lulu, should be fine. But yeah, they had a bit of a siege going. They had Baron buff and Elder, despite DST being up so much gold. And if we look at the gold right now, it's creeping up on you, Destiny. You have Ocean Soul.
Creeping.
You have Ocean Soul, but you got to be careful with this limit testing you're doing. AD Astra are definitely not testing their limits. They are playing solid League of Legends to try and come back. And it's slowly coming back to the DST.
I think we came out of sync, unfortunately, Liam. What's your timer at the moment?
I'm at 51, 52, 53.
Alright, I'm at 48, 49, so I'm like 5-6 seconds off, unfortunately. It kind of froze on me.
Just keep counting me down. I'll unpause when you catch
54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59,
now we should be
35,
synced again.
2. Cool.
Because, yeah, just waited for you to catch up. But, yeah, not too much happening. Good time to do it. DST now they're just holding the AD carry's hand. He's just like, stop running in on your own. We're going to bodyguard the hell out of you to stop you from running it down. Because, yeah, he is definitely a strong force into this game, definitely with those 3 items, but he's not got the scoreline to match. He's been definitely feeding a bit too much, but that's highly due to him. He's just playing on his own all the time. That's not really where AD carry shines. Not really the split pusher. Obviously, very good at taking down structures, but when it comes to combat with enemy champions, they're escaping those ganks. They're very vulnerable, and we've seen AD Astra capitalize time and time again. And yeah, look at AD Astra so far up into the mid lane here. They're just they're finding their way back into this game, and DST are starting to feel it. That normally, if they were this far pushed up, DST would immediately collapse, but they're just sending DST guard bot lane to just try and hold that outer tower. They're not actually going for any crazy plays onto this mid lane.
Yeah, and they're not really respecting what AD Astra is actually capable of. They've given away so many major objectives. They were 6k gold down, essentially, and now they're within 2,000 gold, and they're right there at that pinnacle point where a team fight's going to pretty much make or break this game, as we're looking into second Elder, essentially. Hopefully Jimbo Baggins will be able to split push enough to the point where they feel pressured. But Casuarina farmed up, level 18, ready to go, just waiting to get full build and wreak havoc on Destiny.
Casuarina actually has the most gold in the game here. If he's able to buy something like that Rabadon's for this next team fight, it's going to be huge. I think now the switch is a bit awkward because it's kind of taking up the slot that he kind of needs for that Rabadon's. So we might even see him sell that there just to pick up that Rabadon's. But yeah, if he picks that up, he ends up just going for the Morellos. I don't really agree with the pick. I think you've got enough Grievous on everyone else. But if you... Oh, another disconnect. Ends up coming back, but if he builds that Rabadon's, champions like KD Cat cannot stand near this champion. Prodigium.
Even Prodigium, yeah.
And this Casio also no magic resist. This team is completely vulnerable to this Shyvana AP pick, but building an item like Morello's is more utility than just raw damage. And unfortunately, I think they needed the former latter rather than the former here. And another pause coming through.
AC code lagging hard.
Yeah, DSC must be all lagging or something. They're wondering why the game's gotten so close after they had it in the bag here. The Ocean Soul just still not being enough for them to run away with this game. And yeah, even Easy Doctor finds himself level 18 right now, so strong onto that pick. The ultimate feed is actually up in levels over Prodigium. My game is frozen after the pause again, but I'm hoping that's the case for both of us.
So if you like playing computer games, if you don't want to lag, don't cheap out on a router, guys. Make sure you get a decent router. As any other gamer would sensibly know, if you like to be a bit competitive in nature, and especially in this scene here in next tier esports league, it's important to make sure your internet is stable, because right now ACST is probably raging behind his monitor as we speak.
Yeah, something we really haven't talked about is actually the support difference here. There's not actually too much in the scoreline, but the utility of... Oh my god, look at this Casuarina flank. He's going to be walking over a ward. This is a very dangerous situation for him. He's actually caught completely out. He ends up going for the huge ult. Ends up bursting out KD Cat, but it's just unfortunately not enough for the side of Shyvana. You're looking for a lot more value out of Casuarina at this point in the game, and he's going to lose his Magi's stacks on top of it after playing such a good game. But Jimbo Baggins looking to press his advantage here. They're not going to go all in, even though he was a bit out of position. But I think that's a huge throw from Casuarina after playing the game so well right now, when his team needed him to help fight this Baron. He went for the monster flank, but he ends up not killing anyone. And yeah, DC going to pick this one up free.
And they're going to look right at that Elder as well.
And
they're forcing it.
They're fighting, and it's just too little, too late. Casuarina is the bulk of your damage here. They've all itemized a lot of armor. The AD carries are not going to be as powerful without that Shyvana threat. And yeah, they're just running for the hills. And look at Keisuke running this ghost. He also goes where he pleases. He's chasing down this Mundo all the way from the Baron pit. And yeah, for seconds still giving no respect over. This team had to bail him out of that wall, but unfortunately it's too little too late. He goes down there, and Forsaken is down, and that's a huge part. These AD carries are so vulnerable without the front line, but looks like they're playing it safe, going for that Elder.
Yeah, they want to make sure they do not repeat the same mistake they did 10 minutes ago when they got free Elder and free Drake for free. But unfortunately, Kiritine, not respecting vision, gets called out and just makes this game fall completely flat for AD Astra, and it's just
Wait,
ballooned to a 5-6 gold lead now.
I don't know if this, even if Azuko ends up picking up these kills, it's actually slightly risky. Kiritine's not going to the Elder Dragon though, where I think that was a big mistake there. He had an opportunity for a steal, and Azuko's actually turning this around. Chen trying to stay alive, uses the ultimate, and they finally pick off Azuko. But Kiritine actually had an opportunity to run through and steal the dragon with the jungler being there. That was a bit of a risky play, but unfortunately it ends up working out for them. And they get the Elder Dragon with the sacrifice of their jungler. But DSD playing pretty sloppy. I don't think we need to sacrifice our jungler at this point in the game, especially with the Baron advantage and the 5k gold lead.
I understand everyone wants to get that flashy play like Kiritine with that mistake, then Asuko soon to follow. I don't know if it's something in the air or something they're drinking, but pretty sloppy play and very rare macro mistakes coming out of Destiny, and AD Astra taking full advantage, but at the same time they kind of fall into that same trap. It's just how this game has unfolded, and we've come to the 40-minute mark, and I believe it's the longest game we've ever shoutcasted, Blade Xer.
Yeah, definitely up there. I believe the longest one was probably, I'd say AD Astra again versus For Fun. That game definitely went down to the wire. I think we went overtime in terms of schedule there by at least 5 minutes.
Okay.
So that one was a particularly long game. But oh my god, Prodigium flashing in, unfortunately nowhere near enough damage. He ends up getting the Lulu ult at least, but yeah, Jimbo Baggins on his own with this Hull Breaker, giving him so much resistance, he does not care, and Prodigium finally scaled up to the point where he can absolutely demolish the enemy team on this Aphelios. Kiritine has to be careful of Jimbo Baggins, he's not as powerful versus that champion, and yeah, look at this Mundo, he has healing so much, but unfortunately they've got just as much damage to match. Goes down there, Destiny gonna pick this one up. Finally, after a bit of a shaky game there, Prodigium has the Guardian Angel to stop. Just one more death coming through, and DSC end up taking it.
Yeah, at least Destiny have finally stopped the bleeding in terms of losing games uncharacteristically, but that's not to take away anything from the games that the opponents have won. Just Destiny probably just need to practice a little bit more, but it's also hard when their main roster is always in and out, so synergy isn't quite there yet. But overall, pretty good game coming out of AD Astra, pushing Destiny to the limit.
Yeah, they got to feel that one was so close yet so far at the same time. There were some good moments there, but DST ultimately take it. They bring it back, and I think you can segue that into the MVP discussion. I think there's probably one person keeping Destiny in the game consistently there. Just very minimal errors out of him, and yeah, that DST guard on that Cassiopeia didn't put out all the damage that Prodigium might have been putting out, but definitely was the most consistent player. Performed his job, found crucial picks to get them back in the game, and yeah, definitely ended up helping them secure those later objectives like that Ocean Soul. So,
yeah, and when you play that split pushing champion, which is Tristana and Cassio, if you're just going to sit in the bush and wait, then sometimes it pays off, as we saw here.
Yeah, he just knew the habits of his opponent, caught him sleeping, punishing bad plays there, and yeah, converting that into bigger leads like those objectives, and most importantly, not giving anything away like the rest of his team was. I think if DST Guard was handing over shutdowns left, right, and center, AD Astra have a real good case for a comeback there. And unfortunately for them, DST Guard, playing like an MVP, ends up taking it here with a pretty convincing scoreline. And yeah, not much more to say about that. Definitely some cool moments from Jimbo Baggins, even Asuko definitely had some great plays in there. Prodigium had a lot of attempts, I'll say that.
Flash 1v3, I like it a lot.
He had a lot of attempts, but unfortunately not many went his way, so I think DST Guard ends up picking up the MVP. But SVP, again, it's like looking at the scoreline, might not be as easy to give away, but definitely if you look at the stats and yeah, just the eye test during the game, I think Kiritine was the one keeping them in the game here.
Yeah, and Jin does have a small case, crucial picks with the Deadly Flourish, and able to make those catches out, catching out the opponent even more potent. But overall, yeah, Kiritine on the Shyvana accelerated to the point where it was full build. Questionable last build item where he probably could have built Rabadons, and he'll probably look back at that and realize maybe I should have built that item instead of Medjai's. But Yeah, pretty clean game from Kiratine coming out of the Shyvana, so SCVP for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy to give that one over. We're basically about to get into our next game here. I'm going to set up the lobby, but yeah, what a game from Destiny. They're still not looking like the former champion selves, but they definitely finally got back onto the board. I still think they had a win in there versus Youngbloods, which is strange because they're one of the top ranked teams. But yeah, the teams towards the bottom of the leaderboard giving them a lot of trouble, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it's actually good to see that these lower teams like Casuarina Gentlemen and AD Astra definitely make that push, try to squeeze into that top four like our team ourselves. And it's actually good to see really good improvement coming out of all teams in general. And I'm just hoping that Purple Cobras have also followed suit, but that will have to wait till we get into that actual game.
Yeah, we can't sugarcoat it. Looking at the tournament standings, it's pretty clear when you don't
Mm,
have a win on the board, it is going to be a rough time for that team. The
yep.
morale's low, the drive is low. You're probably thinking there's no chance of us making playoffs, but at least, you know, maybe,
Try to get on the
maybe,
board.
yeah, just try to get on the board. Just that'll be a celebration, if anything. If Purple Cobra gets a win, I'm gonna crack open one for them. That's
Oh
for sure.
man, I'm just waiting to give them the Esky. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest here. Like, if they manage to pull something like crazy, but I feel like if they go for an all-in composition where they force a team fight, they force young bloods to react instead of being proactive, then they can make a case for themselves. Hopefully, they'll be able to draft something like that coming out of Purple Cobras.
Yeah, and we've seen them experiment with their draft. They end up going
Mm,
with the Shen for their top laner. It didn't end up working out at all. He didn't like that champion. Still wanted to play aggressive, not playing around the team orient as well. So I do want them to return to their form. Like go play through that top lane carry if at all possible. Especially into a team like Youngbloods where Django is just not really looking flashy in the top lane. Definitely a solid player up there, but he's never really flashy by any means. So you might have a bit of a opportunity to try and snowball through the top lane because they don't often play top side. But we'll see because the other sides of Purple Cobras have been a bit of a
mm,
liability. That bot lane in particular, I believe last time they faced off versus each other, got absolutely smashed by Fast Runner and Spingding. And if that bot lane gets too accelerated, a top laner doesn't really seem all that powerful. With two champions getting a very big, possible even the jungle, with that support and AD carry backing each other up, it's very hard as a top
mm.
laner to deal with a duo of champions that powerful. So
Yeah, and it's really hard if you're playing supportive champions like Shen, not able to enable yourself to give your team a chance to be in the game, so to speak. So hopefully they'll be able to draft something to cater him and his team. But right now we're just waiting for Purple Cobras to be ready and Young Blood's just waiting in suit. What are your thoughts on the other teams this season, Blade XO, when it comes to obviously you guys are on top, and who do you think are the teams for you guys to watch out for, or particular players, and why?
definitely, you can't ever count out teams like Destiny. They're down right now, but
Mm,
never count them out. Obviously,
yep,
teams like
yep.
Youngbloods have been performing exceptional this season. Definitely, as you stay on top, it becomes more clear what your patterns are, your picks, and
Yep.
people are going to be keeping a close eye on you. So, I think honestly, looking out for everyone, definitely everyone towards the top end of the scoreboard scares us a
Hmm.
bit more because I think as a team we really excel in terms of mechanics and stuff. And even if we make bad calls, we can prevail just using better mechanics, which seems like a pretty cheap way to win, but it is what it is. That is just a big weakness of many of the lower teams is they're not able to
I believe that's called natural selection, but yes.
yeah, a lot of these lower teams they make good plays, but they're not able to execute upon them, and we've seen that time and time again versus teams like Destiny, where Destiny have actually
Mm,
made a bad call, but they end up prevailing because their mechanics are better. They end up outplaying the opponents. They dodge
yep.
the skill shots. They path better. They're kiting better. Little things like that can really turn around a team, but it becomes more and more exploitable once teams, start to notice your patterns. They start banning out your champions, you force on uncomfortable ones, you're playing styles you're not used to, and yeah, teams will take advantage of that. And we see that with games, I think our AD Astra games. I'm not too
Yep.
sure what our kills were looking at at the start of the season we had very clean, convincing games, but our games have been a lot more sloppy as the season has gone on. As that's because teams are learning, they are noticing habits, and yeah, definitely looking. I think the reason why we are undefeated, unlike a lot of other teams, is because we don't pull out any stops. We're not underestimating our opponents, and yeah, we are. Doing the due diligence to give our opponents as much research as they're giving us. So I think that's why we stay on top, but definitely looking towards the top ranking teams. I'd say anyone in the top 4 definitely is something we prepare for. But even a team like For Fun or Casuarina Gentlemen these days taking down Destiny, you have to put them on the radar.
Yeah, and for the fact that they can pull down reigning champions from the past just shows that growth and practice is all you need to take advantage of mistakes that Destiny make. But in a vacuum, if Destiny don't make mistakes, it's very hard for CG and FF to pull themselves out a win. Let's just say 9 times out of 10, so to speak. But it's good to see CG step up, and it's good to see FF step up as well. And hopefully they can make a run just like ourselves in the top 4, so to speak. It's definitely a race. Do you have any spicy picks you're thinking of pulling out in the second half of the season? Because I know I have.
Yeah, I wasn't happy at all with my Action game. I feel like that was not flashy at all. It was just playing standard 80. I could have done that on any other 80 carry, let's be honest. I was sitting behind my team. Challenger for Jade was making all the plays. I was just
set him up.
I was just following up. It wasn't very spicy at all. So I do want to have some more Action games. He is particularly weak at the moment, but I do think he can work in competitive play. Just right now, definitely, he's suffering in the solo queue because people will think this champion's good at fighting. I'd say he's got a strong early game, and that's about it. A lot of champions just straight up run you down or just beat you straight up in the fights, and you're probably the worst scaling AD carry in the game, but the power that the revive brings into those later on skirmishes, there's been so many games where I'm playing into Action, and it's just like, you think you've won the fight, and the enemy Action's alive, and then he kills the person who got a double kill or something, all of a sudden they're alive, you can't start Baron, they're going to run back, and it's a nightmare to play macro against that sort of champion, because you think you've come out with the positive play, but with a single kill, things can turn around real quick. But definitely looking to bust that one out. And I'm hoping other people do too. We haven't really talked about it much, but yeah, Akshan's still enabled, and looking forward to see him play.
Yeah, he's definitely an opportunistic champion, that's for sure. Hard counters to other champions as well, but you do have to chuck a couple of games on him to actually grasp what he's actually good at. But just seeing him solo queue, people just going around towers and failing and hitting walls and such. But overall, very good, fun champion kit to play. Did give him a go in ARAM, didn't quite work out because it's just one line. But nevertheless, we do have Purple Cobras finally ready to duke it out with Youngbloods.
Yeah, looks like we are just about ready. They're about to hop into this game here, and looks like they do have a little bit of a roster swap going around. They do have a sub in the way of Swinky Bra coming into the AD carry role, I believe. I actually think the bot lane of Purple Cobras didn't even do that bad last time they played. I believe they ran the Pantheon support. It was actually a pretty aggressive lane. And yeah, that Pantheon support actually was dropping kills on the board there, and that's not anything to poke fun at. The Purple Cobras have been struggling to even get kills in some of these games for some of the high-ranking teams like Youngbloods, and Stealth was finding them on that Pantheon, and if Nervous and Cantankerous Jim can step up to the plate, we might see a pretty convincing game out of Purple Cobras.
Yeah, and just the way they're positioning themselves in draft, you might actually see something a bit spicy come out of Purple Cobras. But just waiting for him to start. Just wondering, what are your thoughts on, because I've been practicing it, I'm sure other people have practiced it on your team, the champion Irelia. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that champion specifically?
I think there's no secrets here. We've already had an Irelia play even before the patch. Challenger for Jade was playing that Irelia wherever he liked it, and yeah, the champion is pretty nuts. Did cop a nerf, didn't really do much. Like, you still max W, I think, on that champion. Still absolutely absurd, the things you can do, but still, I think the main strength of that pick is still the flexibility of where she can go into that top and mid. You're never really selling anything out, but she's not just an instant win champion, but in terms of counter picks, like, for example, I think that pick into Ikshan, he can't get away really at all. You try and hook shot away, but if a champion's on top of you, it just immediately cancels that hook shot. So that's been picked into me a couple times. You have a decent early game like most AD carries, but as soon as you get to level 6, that Aurelia is hopping on top of you, and you've really got no agency in the lane anymore. Basically got to concede it. So I think she has some really positive matchups both in the top lane and the mid lane, and specifically into Yorick. We have a lot of Yorick players into this tournament, and Aurelia does really well into that champion because she's able to reset off ghouls really easily. But we'll talk about the champion stack. I haven't even switched over yet, and we've already seen them lightning ban all these champions through, and Set, Leona, and Zac being taken off the board. It's interesting that they take Zac away before the Sejuani, because Nixu has favoured that one a lot more, and Karen being picked up by Hectic Antiseptic in the top lane.
This is the first time we might see Zoe coming out of Dark Knight.
Yeah,
but they're not going to pick it.
They flashed it straight away, but I don't think Dark Knight's this. Zoe is pretty blind pickable, but I don't think Dark Knight is the sort of player that's locking anything. But I think he just wants to get this game in on his Zoe. He's had it banned like the whole tournament. I'm sure if you saw your Diana or your Renekton up, it's very hard to stay away from that. You know, you want to show why people ban this champion away from you.
Yeah, and finally Dark Knight gets to breathe and show us what one trick Zoe can do with 500,000 points in mastery. But Xin actually a really good counter to Zoe and Urgot coming through, so that's been locked in by Nervous.
Yeah, great early game on that, and we're seeing Cantankerous Gem being pushed into mid lane here.
Yeah, Echo mid? Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I think as the best player on your team, being put in the mid lane, it gives you a lot more agency. Obviously, top lane, you're just put into that 1v1 role. You have to basically just snowball out of your mind, use that split push advantage. Otherwise, you can't really affect the game too much. But now you're in the mid lane, he can roam around with his jungler. They can gank lanes. They can look for rotations and objectives together, and that's basically the strength of Cantankerous Gym and Nervous. We saw they were playing so well off each other. Nervous was setting so many ganks up for him, so I'm excited to see how this roster swap goes for them here.
And I really like this draft coming out. A bit of questionable bans coming out of Youngbloods, but I'm pretty sure they just don't know what to ban at this stage. And I'm probably going to see a Vayne or Yasuo ban come out of Purple Cobras, hopefully.
I know why they banned that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just saw it. Yeah.
Why is
Purple
Cobras
Kha'Zix?
banning my
That's the
name?
first time I think I've seen him on that champion.
Yeah, Kha'Zix for Nixu is not something we've seen yet. He's mostly put onto those utility tanks, and now we see him on an assassin. I'm very excited to see, because I think that's more his playstyle, honestly. He's playing Sejuani and Zac very skirmish. He ganks a lot, and onto a champion like Kha'Zix, he could potentially just blow up this game here. And into champions like Xin Zhao and Echo could just completely thwart them out. Because Echo is particularly weak early, Xin Zhao not as much, but definitely still struggles a little bit in that 1v1 versus the Kha'Zix, just because the trade pattern. And the Quinn being locked in for the AD carry here. And this might be telling that Purple Cobras want to start rotating around the map together. They've got their mid lane jungle duo available now. They've got a Quinn in the bot lane, and they're surely going to be very mobile with the Xin and the Echo diving in onto people. And I want to see the Pantheon, but he ends up going to Maokai. That's also fine. This team is lacking a little bit of frontline and engage, and the Maokai just suits that perfectly, and it's such an easy pick to play. It's so strong in the support right now, because there's very low margin for error. And you're so annoying in lane dropping those saplings. I'm sure everyone's played against it. Like, you know the sapling's in there, but you have to like walk on the very edge of its range to proc it. But if you mess up, it ends up chunking you down. It's very annoying to play. And surprisingly, we're seeing Twitch Xerath the bot lane out of this, and I can only assume that's possibly even winning for Quinn and Maokai here.
Yeah, very questionable Xerath and Twitch being picked into the Xin here. Twitch could pretty much get suffocated out of a team fight for the duration of his ultimate, because of Xin Zhao's duration of his ultimate as well. I think what we got to look for is definitely the Xin pick. Hopefully he'll be able to accelerate Purple Cobras and put them in a position where they can definitely pull off their composition, because Quinn's going to be everywhere, and Maokai is just going to be camping in the bushes as well. But finally a good draft coming out of Purple Cobras, Blade Xer.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this draft. I think particularly in the bot lane, they have an opportunity that doesn't strike me as the most powerful bot lane at all, but it has been a strength for Youngbloods. Their bot lane has been performing quite consistently, but I just think Youngbloods have a really strong draft here if they just poked. If they picked something like the Ezreal or the Varus, they had this poke composition going on there with the Xerath,
Yep.
Zoe, Kha'Zix's W evolve would have been annoying, but they're not going Twitch, and it doesn't really fit their identity at all. But we'll see what this Twitch can do. I'm sure he's locked it away for a reason, but we will ponder that after we go into the major sponsors of the season. Transitioning us over, we have the Territory Zone, Paul's Ice Coffee. Like Tojango was saying before, they've got some giveaways going on. Make sure you guys are purchasing it, and we're giving away in the spin wheel. Hopefully someone wins one of those, because I'm sure everyone's always happy to win a Paul's Ice Coffee for free. There'll be plenty of opportunities for you guys to claim that when you go to the Press Start event in the future. But first of all, let's continue shouting out the sponsors, the Northern Territory Government and McDonald's Darwin, also giving us so much funding for the season. Thank you to them so much. And yeah, we're going to go to our minor sponsors: Next Year Entertainment, Serotonic Beauty, VR Gamers, Gaming Creations, Tracy Village, Social and Sports Club, Howard Springs Tavern, The Rabbit Hole, Palates of India, Fresh Point, John John's, Diamond Barbers, District North Kitchen, Wicked Energy, Joyce Main, Next Level Gym, and Bell Accounting, all the minor sponsors of a season. And yeah, make sure you guys are claiming your NTEL bonus when you're going to that Press Start event. Let me transition us over, because it's going to be hosted in the Tracy Village Tavern here. So I'm sure if we go up to the bar, we can use our benefits as NTEL players. We're getting discounts on all these minor sponsors. Well, not all of them, but majority. But yeah, definitely some goodies to claim for ourselves. Guys, make sure you're turning up to this party. It's going to be such a fun night. David has been running events in Next Year Entertainment. He knows how to make a good event, I'm sure. Like, possibly even better than esports at this point. He's been doing it so long, making so much money. And yeah, I'm expecting great things out of this event, guys. So make sure you're not going to miss it at all. But yeah, have a little bit more time to just go into these drafts. But yeah, just say, honestly, Youngbloods have a really strong draft here. It's just the Twitch doesn't match it. And I think a Twitch particularly is going to struggle into champions like Quinn